All right, wait for it to show up here. Oh, there we are. All right. How's it look for you, Jesse?
Looks good from what I can tell. Let me check Twitch real quick. Yep, I see what Twitch. Oh, there's already chat going on, and I completely missed it.
Okay. Yep, they're getting ready for us. All right, gentlemen, 3, 2. Welcome to Nintendo Dads, episode 322, recorded on April 15th, 2021. On tonight's episode, we welcome our special guest, David Reed, the gaming dad, and we discuss the IndieWorld Showcase, the Pokemon GO events for this week or this month or whatever is coming up, and your community questions. Jesse, you know what to do.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It is episode 322 of Nintendo Dads. I am Marty Estes, and we are ready to dive into what has been a pretty interesting news week for Nintendo this week, with lots of things to talk about, like IndieWorld, a brand new Switch that confused a whole heck of a lot of people on what color it is, as well as your questions and what we've been playing. But before we dive into that, we want to welcome our normal... Well, they're not normal, but they're our regular group of folks here on the show. Tim Off, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing great. I'm as usual, getting through the week, doing my work, and looking forward to tonight to talk about the latest games, especially one that I'm excited about that I can't wait to talk about tonight. So
I watched the IndieWorld yesterday. I held off and watched it with my son at home, instead of watching it at the office and sneaking it like I normally do. But my wife watched it with us, and like the whole time she was just like playing on her phone. I'm like, are you not seeing these incredible games? And she was like, yeah. So I'm glad that I have you guys to talk to tonight. You know, that's, I mean, like I was even like, look at that one. That's one we can play together. You would love that. She was like, yeah. You know, and then she went back to her history or pop culture podcast or whatever it was she's listening to. She doesn't listen to us, but she listens to them. So that's a whole nother
you'll have to come talk
therapy session for another day. Jesse Waldack, how you doing tonight?
Pretty good. You'll have to talk about it next time Zach's on or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he can be my discount therapist.
One of our projects that we've had going on for work, like, went into testing almost 2 years ago, went into limited pilot last year. We tried to put it into production in late January, early February, and it finally went into full production this week, and I am so exhausted.
I thought you were going to say, and it failed this week, and I was going to be like, so you've been working on the Johnson & Johnson shot?
No, but no, but the software release was successful, and we are seeing a lift in our numbers because of it. Finally,
cool.
And now we finally work on expanding that.
I had lunch today with one of my coworkers, and he was like, "Yeah, so my wife and I got that Johnson & Johnson shot the day before they paused it." I was like, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. It's okay. You grow a third arm or whatever. You'll be cool. It'll be all right. You can grab, extra things when you're coming in from the grocery store. I don't know. Also joining us on the show this week, a very special guest. We are so excited and honored to have David Reed, gaming dad, with us. How you doing, David?
Hey, man, I'm doing good, man. I'm so glad to be here, man. This is really exciting for me.
Well,
man, I had a great week, man. Just been working really hard, man, trying to, promote my channel, and I do a bunch of other things besides this here, man. I guess you can call me gaming dad of everything. So I'm all.
I like it. And we're excited that you are here. And later on in the show, we want to spend some time shining the spotlight on you, telling everybody where they can find you, how they can follow along with what you're doing, because you are doing some really cool stuff. And you and Tim are state buddies.
That's right.
Yeah, you're like actually kind of close to each other. So,
well, he's not anymore, but
right.
He is from Detroit.
In Georgia.
He is from that area. That's right.
Yeah,
Sorry,
he's closer. He's more of a neighbor of you now.
He's coming to us live from an undisclosed location in space, apparently.
Space.
That's right. That's right. Well, guys, we got a lot to cover from the indie world and also some other things. So let's dive right into it, shall we? And our news each and every week is brought to us by you fine folks over at patreon.com/Nintendo Dads, where for as little as $1 a month, you can jump in and be a part of this awesome community that we are building. Just like 116 people that have already joined in and are helping us out over there, bringing you all the weekly shenanigans. It's really cool. We were just talking right before the show. We were telling David about just kind of how, like, we started as this one show, and through this community, we've been able to branch out to a whole Nintendo Dads family of podcasts with Dad Crossing and Dads After Dark and the Dinner Table, and now Retro Logic joining us. And guys, if you are not listening to those shows as well, you should add them to your podcast feed. Now, I know Dad Crossing and the Dinner Table comes across in its own in our podcast feed, but you need to go and add Retro Logic and Dads After Dark. They have their own feeds. They have their own things going on over there. And so go check them out. Dads After Dark is now coming to you bi-monthly. Is it right? Or they were coming to you bi-monthly.
Dads After Dark is weekly now.
It's weekly now.
Yeah.
Yes.
They do their main show every 2 weeks,
Don,
and then they have like a little smaller filler show in their off week.
Betwixt.
John is gonna let me know that I messed that up. If he hasn't, he's probably in my mentions already, and that's okay. They're every week.
Actually,
Retro Logic is every week as well, and you can head over to Dan's store, which is also called Retro Logic, on eBay, and find some of the best priced, cleanest, most reliable retro games and gaming consoles.
I was able to pick up to him my very first games I built from him. A beat for the Super Nintendo, which was the Link to the Past and Super Mario World, because I didn't have the original cartridges. I haven't had them in a long time, so I was able to buy them from him.
I wish 40-year-old Marty sitting on this podcast right now wishes I could go back and slap the ever-loving bejesus out of 14-year-old Marty, who was carrying this giant cardboard box full of NES and Super NES games.
Oh, yeah.
Into EB Games back in the day, so I could trade it in for brand new stuff.
Yes.
I slap him so hard.
Every time.
What are you doing? Stop it.
Just go back in time. Every time that thought came across to sell a system in some games. Time, hold on to it.
Y'all, I traded in a ton of stuff to get a Game Boy Advance. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. I had to trade in a lot of stuff in order to buy that next thing too. So it's just how it works.
I think back to what I had, and it's because I was an only child, y'all. So I could just be like, Daddy. No, David, look, growing up, I had a Super Nintendo, a Sega Genesis, and a TurboGrafx 16.
Oh, you listen. He was
that kid. He was that kid.
I was that kid. Yeah, except I didn't have any friends to share it with, or any siblings. So that's okay. So I just
no Neo Geos with that cost $150 per game.
Oh, listen, that Neo Geo was crazy.
I actually almost had a Neo Geo, and we won't talk about that. But there's very few systems I have not had. The Neo Geo, Sega Saturn, or some of them.
About 15 years ago, I had the chance to buy a Neo Geo arcade cabinet that had the 6 slots for like cheap, like damn near zero, like $150 or something like that. I just, 1, didn't have a way to move it, and 2, didn't have any place to put it because I was still in a 2-level duplex at the time.
Now the universe has smiled on you, and you have baby Pac-Man.
I do.
So
and a main cabinet. But I can still emulate those games.
So that you can play Neo Geo on. It's
right,
more
but still
than 6 slots.
I wouldn't ever want to buy an arcade that only has 1 game, but still, 6 games and that's easily exchangeable with cartridges. And in fact, the arcade cartridges are cheaper than the home system cartridges just due to volume but oh well, that'll never happen again. I'll never see that deal.
I'll tell you one thing. I thought about buying one of those one-up cabinets, but I think I'm gonna pick up one. The Killer Instinct one. I'm definitely picking up.
What other games
wait,
are on
hold
that
on.
one? Do you
Hold
remember
on.
that?
I don't.
Hold
I don't
on.
know.
You just,
I
you just rocked my world. They're doing a
I
Killer
just gotta have
Instinct
Killer
cabinet.
Instinct. That's all I need. I'm telling you. I spent
I'm looking it
plenty
up
of
right
money,
now. One Up, Killer
plenty of
Instinct.
coins on Killer Instinct. And
Are you
when
saying
that
you want
drops,
one,
buddy,
or they're making one and you're thinking about buying it?
Oh no, it exists.
Yeah, it exists.
Oh yeah, sure does.
Oh, it's just
Oh
Killer
my
Instinct.
gosh. I don't care.
yeah.
I don't care.
if it's
Right? Listen,
one
I said
game.
the same thing. I don't care.
Actually,
that's coming in the house.
It was the release of those arcade one-ups that inspired me to buy and build the full-size kit, because I don't like the 3/4 size. I feel like I'm hunching over, and I'm not that tall. I'm only 5'4".
guys.
They have
Back up
stands
here.
for them.
It does not just have Killer Instinct. It has Killer Instinct 2 and Battletoads.
Oh,
and
see,
Oh, okay.
see, right,
Yeah,
see,
there it
so
is.
it's a winner.
There you
bonus
go.
games hidden as Easter eggs.
Oh,
Ooh.
see, listen,
Yeah, but
it's
this
a
is,
Because
win.
it's
I
rare.
understand, but
That's
yeah,
why.
that's an extra $100. That's a lot for. A few
Oh,
pieces of
I'm gonna
wood.
have to have this. I'm
I,
gonna have
listen, I
to-
gotta have it.
There's only one other one that I want that almost made me jump, and that was
Give me
the
a jam.
X-Men, the X-Men arcade game. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
The old beat 'em up.
Yep.
I played so much of that back in the day.
The one that almost made me jump, but again, it was the same thing with Jesse with the space, was the Star Wars one. I wanted the Star Wars one,
Ooh.
but just the space.
Well, this Killer Instinct one is sold out, or it's just they've announced it and it has not.
It
gone
has
on
not.
sale.
They haven't sold it yet.
Well,
They just announced it.
put my name
looking
on
at
the
all these
availability
ones.
list.
Yeah.
right
Oh
now.
yeah. My name is on that list.
Yeah, it's been registered. Thank you so much, dude. You are already dropping knowledge on the show that I didn't even know about, and we're not even in the news yet. But again, head over to patreon.com/Nintendo Dads and jump into the community. We would love to have you over there. We are 4 away from 120. Who's going to be number 120? It'd be awesome. We'll shout you out on the show. In
Marty,
fact,
I have to
anybody-
interrupt. I'm sorry. There's
No,
a
go ahead.
sit down. There's a sit down version of the Star Wars limited edition seated arcade game. There's a sit down version of it.
See,
Look, call me when they get the Luigi's Mansion sit down. Call me.
oh, you
Have
know
you
what?
played that?
Yeah.
y'all
Listen,
played
they
it?
have it. They have it down here in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I'm
Yeah.
talking about like the arcade one up that I can buy and bring home.
Oh no, they don't have that yet.
No, we played.
yet.
My son and I played it at Dave and Buster's before all this pandemic crap, and it's awesome.
You got NBA Jam, 4 players.
Right, NBA Jam.
Oh
listen,
my gosh.
Listen, right. Right.
And it's online play.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah.
Listen,
yeah.
when I was in college, man, NBA Jam was my
Yes.
that was my go-to.
That was your
man.
jam.
On Super Nintendo. Oh man,
Yes.
I think
It's on fire.
I beat plenty of people in that game. Plenty.
All right. I had to leave that page before I
Yep.
stopped the show again.
Yeah. All right.
I was a
let's-
Pistons fan, you know.
Yes,
Played with
of
Isaiah
course.
and Bill
You
Lambert.
gotta. If you're playing the original NBA Jam, you gotta pick the Bulls every time.
No,
Jordan
no,
and
sir,
Pippen.
no. Bill Lambert, Isaiah Thomas. That's it.
Yep.
We just shoot threes.
Oh,
We need a dunk. We need
Bad
to
boys.
shoot threes.
Bad
All day.
boys.
I love it. It's been years since I played NBA Jam, but man, it was good.
Wait,
Hey,
wait.
let's talk.
When that game was new, I lived in Minnesota, and not knowing anything about basketball, of course, I would normally pick the Timberwolves, which was like the second worst team in the game.
Just look at the numbers, Jesse. I mean, just go for the numbers. I mean, that's all you have to do. That's how I play sports games. When
Well,
I have to play
I've
them.
learned
It's like,
since
oh,
then.
this team's
but
got a
at the
99
time,
ranking. Okay, great. All right. Well, let's talk about some games that were announced this week. Nintendo dropped a surprise announcement for IndieWorld on Tuesday, and then followed it up with a presentation of roughly around 20 minutes on the 14th, in which they announced, let's just count here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 20 games. And some of those,
of which only one was a game we've known about, and we got
That's
a better,
true.
we got a release date, and 3 out today's.
yeah,
4 was it 3 or 4? I forget now.
well, anyway, yeah, three out today's, as well as some demos available as well. And so I just, David, how we do this when Nintendo, what we've typically done in the last little bit is that we don't just kind of go in and drill down and break into every game, right? Because people can watch this on their own. Most people that are listening to the show or watching on YouTube or Twitch right now, they've probably watched this on their own already. But we just kind of talk about our highlights.
Oh yeah.
And what stuck out for us. And so Just for the sake of time and because there's 4 of us tonight, I'm going to say this. Top 3 games that stuck out to you in this presentation. All right.
Top 3.
Whether it was something that they spent and lingered a little bit on, or in the montage at the end.
Okay, listen. I'm gonna start with the montage at the end.
Okay.
The House of Dead remake, man, do you not know? I said that dream. It gave me Dreamcast feels. I felt butterflies in my chest. I was like, but they just kind of just threw it in there real quick. I was like, man, what's going on here?
That's kind of a big deal to just throw in there real quick, right?
Right. I was like, man, this should have been like a highlight.
Yes.
Well, I'm just glad that it's announced. We know it's coming, and I'm definitely looking forward to that. Second game is the game by Konami. Was it Getsu Fundamental? Listen. I will tell names.
Getsu Fumaden.
Yeah, there it is.
Undying Moon.
But yes, that game right there. I said, oh man, I'm sad it's coming out next year, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. But I heard it's coming out on PC.
Looks beautiful. Looks beautiful.
It kind of reminded me of the same art style that's been used lately on Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection.
Yeah, exactly. It gave me that same kind of vibe. I just like those kind of games.
But now, did you know that game is a sequel?
No.
The original Getsu Fumaden came out on the NES.
Wow.
And it is credited. A lot of people credit it as the inspiration for the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game on the NES and Castlevania 2 for being like the metro, like kind of the back and forth, maze-like type thing. And so this one is going to be more roguelike and is going to be, a little like variant when you play it. But yeah, it originally came out in 1987.
So my first thought was, why is Konami in an indie showcase? So I looked it up.
Yeah,
they're flagged as the publisher, but the developer isn't shown. So depends on who developed.
So by that thing, can Nintendo publish an indie game and be in the indie world?
Well,
I think they did before.
There's a question that I think will let later on in the show that'll let us drill into that question. We'll touch that later.
All right. Sorry, David, I interrupt you. What's your third one there?
My third game is you got to give me 2, man. You got to give me 2.
I will because Aztec you are a guest. Two more.
All right, Aztec was a good one, man. But to me, my favorite of the show, man, was TMT, man. When they announced Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I was like, yes. You kind of knew it was kind of coming, but when that trailer dropped and they gave us some more gameplay, I was like, all right, I'm ready. Come take my money. Just go ahead and get it now. Where can I pre-order?
Were you hoping for an out today?
Huh? Oh,
were you hoping out today? Like I was saying at the end, it's like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is out today.
You know what? But I really hope they have a physical version. I hope limited runs. Somebody. That's one of them games you got to have. Like I just, matter of fact, my copy of Scott Pilgrim is coming in the mail, and I got that off limited runs. Definitely
so good.
This is so good, man. So good. Definitely.
I think that this game being, correct me if I'm wrong, is the Dotemsu or Dometsu or whoever it is that did Streets of Rage 4 is involved with this, and I think that means this game is in good hands.
Yep, I agree.
All right, so Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and what's the last one?
No, I get Aztec.
Oh, Aztec. Yeah. I actually want to talk about that one for a minute because I really thought this. Why would the first thought I had looking at it, especially there was a shot in the trailer where the protagonist was fighting this boss and it fell over, and it was all dark but I was looking at it, I was like, this is an indie game.
Yeah,
and I don't mean that as disrespectful to indie games. But I was thinking, this thing looks like AAA. I mean,
it looked impressive. It looked impressive.
Very polished. I think that one's for me, Aztec was the dark horse of the entire presentation, because I think there'll be people who they'll see it now and they'll go, okay, but then they'll sleep on it when it comes out, because that's going to be one that's this happens all the time. It's probably going to get sandwiched between a bunch of big releases. And it's gonna, and then people are gonna be like, "Oh, Aztec, why didn't it sell better?" Well, it came out the day
before Zelda.
Right. Or
Right.
it came out the same day Mario Golf did, or whatever. you know.
Oh man, cannot wait for Mario Golf. Sorry.
All right. All right. So Tim, what about you? Top three from the indie world.
A lot of, I think I'm going to try to say something different because a lot of those are the same. I'm not going to include Fez
Okay,
because
so
that
maybe
was,
maybe what stuck out for you, or three
Yeah.
games that stuck out for you.
so I'll say Fez because I've been wanting that one to come for a long time to the Switch because to me it's been stuck for me on the Vita. I know there's probably other
Been
places you
stuck
can
on the
play.
360 for me.
Yeah. So I was really happy that my guess from the day before that I said I hope Fez was coming did come true. So I was really happy to see that. Also with the House of Dead 2 remake, I'm really excited because my son and I have been really getting him more and more involved with games together. So that one, he's been having a lot of fun with zombie games. He's actually been going through the Telltale games, Walking Dead series. You remember those games? The Walking Dead
the Telltale
Oh, yeah, I
games.
got 'em
Telltale
on my
games, yeah.
Vita.
Yep, he's been playing those, and he just finished season 2, so he's looking forward. He's been begging me to get season 3 because I only own season 1 and season 2. So, but yeah, but he's into the whole zombie thing, so I'm looking forward to that. But the things that stuck out to me the most was besides Aztec again, because you guys brought it up, Skull the Hero Slayer looked pretty cool. I like the mechanic behind the heads, changing the heads and stuff like that. And let's see, Ollie Ollie World interested me too because of being, I like the Ollie Ollie games, but being a skateboarding game, but like platformer skateboarding game, you know, with a story seemed very interesting to me. So I'm kind of intrigued by that. And then last but not least, because he's from Detroit, Ariel Knight, Ariel Knight, he's came out with his game Never Yield. So and I'll talk about the demo later, but yeah, I'm really excited about that and excited that there was somebody who in the Detroit area able to get his game out on the Nintendo Switch and other systems.
That's right.
So, and the music is just awesome in that game. And I just sent him a tweet earlier asking, are we going to get access to this soundtrack?
I did the same thing. I asked him about, hey, are you giving out content code? Because I would love to be able to do something early before this game drop.
Yeah. So, yeah, I was like, I just want to listen to that soundtrack while I'm working.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's one. Yeah, so I won't want to take away anybody else's stuff, but there was a lot for me at least that caught my attention. So,
Okay, Jesse, what about you?
Well,
Three games that stuck out.
One of the first things I saw on Twitter when the whole thing was over is, do they really have Ollie Ollie and Oxenfree in the same presentation? So that's kind of funny. For
yes, they do.
Road 96 looked interesting to me. I'm interesting. It says it's a procedurally generated narrative game. So is it be like a lot of randomness, or is it a lot of choose your own adventure choice type of things?
Your choices determine which route you go to.
Yeah,
I
so
thought it was like different stories. Like, every time there's a new story, a new take on something, and it's like kind of like every time you play, it's like something brand new. That's how I gathered it from the.
So I'm hoping that the story itself is relatively short, which will then encourage multiple plays. Because if it's going to take 20 or 30 hours, I'm not playing that again. Give me like a 2 or 3 hour.
I got too much stuff in my backlog.
Right. So, but if it's 2 or 3 hours, I'll give it 2 or 3 runs. So I'm interested in that. There is no game Wrong Dimension. I've played that in Windows, and it's a shorter game. I think I played it in one sitting, maybe 3 or 4 hours, but it's fun. I'm not going to get it on the Switch. I don't feel like double dipping on that. But if you like humorous puzzle, point and click puzzle games, that one's one to look for.
I picked this up and haven't gotten to play it yet, but my son also thought it was hilarious and immediately went to the eShop and bought it. And he's about half the way through it, and he with no help now, 14 years old, he's figuring it all out, right? And I love that. I'm like, I'm all for it. That was the game that I saw during it. I'm like, hey, pointing at my wife. I'm like, hey, don't you think that would be fun for us to sit and figure out? Because she loves puzzles and loves escape rooms and stuff like that. And I'm like, this looks like something we could figure out together. And she's like,
Man,
Okay,
goes back to what she was looking at, right?
The original concept of that game was like the result of a game jam, and that takes like an hour or two to get through, and then they, kind of took a lot of the ideas from that version and built this bigger version, and it's got a story and there's multiple things to do in it. So it was a fun game. The other one I wanted to talk about, and the one I'm most confused about, is the longing. And y'all know how I play games.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not a game that I'm playing. Because,
because you'd still be playing it this time next year.
Well, right. I play a game to hell, and then when I'm done, I'm done. I don't peek and that's how I played Animal Crossing. And when I was done playing Animal Crossing, I was done. I can't play a game for 20, 30 minutes at a time every day for N days. So this is a 400-day game. So I'm thankful for Dad After Dark John for grabbing this, and he did a first look on it. So it'll be interesting to see, and what he does with it.
What my question is this, and I know we're not going to know this for another year, but what happens after 400 days? Because you've invested all of this time into this world, and for people who do that, I think they're going to be incredibly invested, and then all of a sudden you can't play it anymore.
I'm sure you can,
or it ends stupid.
Yeah, it's like in the end.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's like 400 days. The king's like, he wakes up. It's like the end.
So my two big questions is: will your decisions in the game really matter?
Right.
Because you can literally start it, stop it, never touch it, come back 400 days later and see an ending.
Yeah.
Or question two: time travel.
I don't know. Like, there was so much mystery surrounding that game in the Indie Direct. I mean, they never showed you being any. I noticed this because I obsessively watched the time in that instead of listening to what they were saying. They never got past like 267 days.
Okay.
and they did show a scene where there was like a door that shows up at a certain time on a certain day. And then it goes away, and the character was like, I wonder if it'll come back again. So who knows? There could be some time trickery and all that.
I remember, it reminds me of New Leaf. The day one, you plant a tree, which is supposed to take 300 days to sprout. I never went back to see what happened after day 300.
It's in your town's laying over on its side. Everything's on fire. The roaches have taken over.
Or the tree is taking over the whole island. It's overgrown.
It's just become a monster tree.
But that game though is, because of all those questions, has me intrigued. But it's like, do I want to spend the money to figure it out, or am I just gonna find somebody who's doing it and watch them?
I'm curious. I want to know, but I'm not going to buy it. I am not going to play this.
I'm not buying that game.
If you're out there and you want to start a Dad's Family podcast, the Longing Dads,
Longing Dads,
you can have it. All right, you can have it.
And you know what? The gameplay was so action packed, man. I'm telling you, it was like.
I know.
It was like,
my favorite parts when the guys walking up the stairs and the little text box
very
comes
slow.
up, and it's like, and it says, "No need to hurry." I've got all this time, and it's right.
Well, it's got, looks like it's got aspects of what you would do in Animal Crossing, Minecraft, and other similar slower paced games. But what's the
that
point?
can run in Animal Crossing?
That game is extra slow. That game.
Is there a point, and what happened?
That's what I want to know.
There was a point in the trailer too
it.
where the guy sits down beside a crackling fire to read a book, and I'm like, what if I just plug my Switch in and I leave it on for the next 400 days? And I don't do anything. I just walk back downstairs, and the kid's like,
if that's when somebody's got money and they invest in buying the Switch, like you said, when they can dock, plug it into a Twitch channel and leave it going.
Yes.
And you can go watch it.
There's all the energy out there for that, right?
Yes.
somebody's going to do it.
So that game launched.
It's out.
It launched that day. So I'm gonna.
Yeah, it was one of the today games.
I'm punching
much
in
is it?
Excel. It was like $15.
Yeah.
12 or $15.
He's like, oh man, that's cheap enough to buy. Oh crap!
So whoever bought it and started playing it on day 1, day 400, May 19th, 2022.
Okay.
Mark the
There
day.
you go. May 19th, 2022. We'll check back with you. So for me,
That's Sammy's birthday.
look at there. Buy it for Sammy right now. Hey, I just
Wait,
wondered.
you said
this, 'cause
2022. Which day?
May 19th.
My 19th. Oh, it's 3 days before his birthday. Sorry.
You know how you can time cheat on Animal Crossing by changing your Switch clock?
Well, right.
Yes.
That's what I said.
I
Time
wonder
travel.
if you could. I wonder if you can do it this way. I thought you were literally saying like there's an in-game mechanic of time travel. I don't.
No, I meant
yeah,
I meant
I thought
changing
that
the
too.
clock and see what
Yeah.
happens. Time
Changing it
crimes.
from the
Who
day you
knows?
start the game to 1 year later.
1 year later.
Change the year.
And like you've got 10 minutes left.
Mecha Dragon
Oh,
says
God.
that we'll get a new
then you could do a
Switch by
video.
that time.
Then you could do a video on the 10, like, hey, got 10 minutes left. This is the countdown.
Yes.
You might get a large turnout just to find out what's going on.
There you go.
And like you said before, it's gonna say the end. It'll be over.
But hey, you can see the end on the new Switch Pro by that time, right?
That's right.
Like what Mecha Dragon
That's
was
right. Well,
saying.
no, unless you have to spend time swapping it over, and then all of a sudden, 'cause, I mean,
What if you swap it over and you lose all that time and you got to
Does the
start
time-
over?
does the
Yeah,
time
we-
keep
oh.
ticking when you're not playing it,
We're not
Yes.
getting a
or
we're
is
not
it
getting a
400
pro.
days in
We're getting a-
game?
No, yeah,
Right.
time continues when you're not playing it. Like you can
Okay.
shut off Animal Crossing, come back the next day, and it knows it is 8:30
Yeah.
a.m.
I just didn't know if it was like you had to literally play.
No, it's not 400.
days.
It's not 400 days of actual playing.
It's like real time.
Yeah,
It's just it's real time based.
Yeah.
David, what were you saying about not getting a Pro?
Look, we're not getting a pro. We're getting a Switch Lite that's blue.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Is
That's
it? Well,
that's
hang
our
on.
pro.
We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that here in just a second because I don't. People need new eyes. That's all I'm going to say. People need new eyes. So for me, here's the games that stuck out. I really thought Hindsight looked amazing. I don't have any clue what it's about. This is one of the Annapurna games.
Okay.
The one that started out with the hose spraying and like it was slowed down, and you're falling through all these dreams.
Yes.
I didn't really care for the tone of Last Stop, but I did think that Hindsight is one that I'll probably pick up for there. And then I finally went today and picked up the Chris Tales demo because it finally has a date.
Beautiful
And
game.
I played that today and I fell in love with it.
Oh,
Like I
Yeah.
can't stop thinking about it.
I played that demo when
I'm
the
gonna have
demo
to
was
get it.
new.
Now I'm going to
last
have
year.
to get it. And Jesse, you had such high praise for it back
Yes.
then that I purposefully waited until we had a date to play it because I didn't want to wait that long. Like, because you play, I mean, it's a year for you.
Is it
right?
turn based?
Yes.
Is it turn based? Okay.
Yes, it is. And like there's the demos out there. So you can go, the demo takes you through kind of like the first probably 20 minutes of the game. If you really know what you're doing, it ends with a boss fight in which one of your characters has to spray the boss with water, which is his ability. And then you switch to the other character who uses a time crystal to switch it to the future to make the boss's shield rust so they'll take damage.
Wow.
It's pretty dang
Yeah,
awesome.
That's intense.
Like and like the only thing that bothers me about it is, and I mean this will cut one of my games out that I've been playing, but like the view once you unlock the time crystal power, your screen is a triangle. So your character is in the middle of the triangle, and off to the side of the sloping angles are the future and the past. And that kind of, to me, it's a little, I don't know. I know what they're going for.
I
know
got
it's
used
so
to
that
it pretty quick, but it was
I know
weird
it's
at
so
first.
you'll catch things, like you'll be able to see, oh, there's something different over here. But I could just see a little hint of it because you have this little frog in a top hat. Why is it a frog in a top hat named Matthias?
Hello,
Or
my
Matthias.
darling. Hello.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. And if you go back, you could
Montague
send
J.
him to the
Frog?
past.
Is that what his
Yes.
name is?
You could send him to the past or to the future. If you send him to the past, he becomes a little tadpole, or a little frog with with 4 legs, like dragging them behind him. If you send him to the future, he's a big fat frog. He's apparently had a very good life. But it like the whole screen shifts to that time. But in that, you're not your character, you're the frog. And the frog is manipulating things that when you come back to the present, it's changed. And already, like, I love the fact that already in the game, you have to make a choice. Like, there's 2 people in town and their houses are falling in, and you have to choose which one of those you save. And apparently that affects the game further on into it. Because it was like the characters were like, well, you're a time mage now. You're going to have to make these decisions all the time, whether you like it or not. So there's going to be all kinds of stuff going on through the game. I thought that game is brilliant. And you know what? I'm going to take 2 as well, because I can't do 3. I do want to mention, I want to piggyback off what Tim said earlier. I thought Never Yield is amazing. There's some issues that I have with it that I hope he cleans up before the game launches, and I think he probably will. But y'all, on the daily here in my office, I'm listening to jazz and like lo-fi and chill hop and stuff. And so all of that coming together for this soundtrack, I'm like, yes. And
you want that soundtrack too, don't you?
I do too. Yes, I will play it all the time. And I lost an hour and a half to this game this morning.
Yeah.
Just playing it and taking it in. And I love it. But my last one, and I think Tim already mentioned this one too, the highlight of the direct for me was Skull the Hero Slayer. I cannot wait till this game comes out. It looks so amazing. It reminded me,
you're up your alley there.
It reminded me so much of there's an old Sega Genesis game called Decap Attack. I think not Decap Attack, Dynamite Heady, where you had to switch different heads around to get through the stages. Or you could have one head that you could throw and it was a bomb and it would explode, or you had a boomerang head, or you had things like this. It was an old platformer, and this looks just 90 different heads to swap through.
Right.
It's roguelike, which, yes, right up my
alley.
That's Marty. But overall, I would say this. I think that this, as we kind of wrap up here, I think this was one of the best indie worlds Nintendo has ever put out.
I get to show a C+.
Okay.
It was a C+.
Okay.
I think they needed one more. If they'd have dropped 6 on, buddy, that'd have been.
Yeah. Where is that game, by the way? It's getting up there into Cuphead DLC territory. You know what I'm talking about? Like it's probably never going to happen at this point.
Well, that was shown at the last E3 almost 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And the frog's name is Michigan J Frog. I found it, and Mole found it and told me at about the same time.
Okay. Tim, Jesse, what about you? What kind of grade do you want to give this indie world?
I think it's like a B. You know, normally on these, there's only 1 or 2 games that interested me. Here, there's more. A few more, which is a rarity.
Yeah, true.
I'll give it a B+ because of it has a handful of games I definitely am interested in. And no, I won't be able to play them all, but I'm interested in them and can't wait to hear what other people have to say about them, or if it comes to Game Pass, being able to check it out there or something. But it's B+ because I think they've got into a good groove of how they've been presenting these showcases, and I think what would bump it up is definitely a more probably those games that we all probably were looking for or hoping for, at the beginning or the end. Because we didn't mention it, but the Oxenfree 2 game, the Lost Signals, not a lot of people understood what that was. Because I was watching
that was a big deal.
Like the Nintendo pals, when they watched it, they thought Oxenfree was a company, and they that made the game Lost Signals. They didn't know it was a sequel to the Oxenfree game. So if you didn't know what Oxenfree was, you would just be like, okay, why is this a big deal? So yeah, so I feel bad for, the developers for that part, but probably a little bit better explanation at the beginning of saying, hey, you remember Oxenfree, or this is the story in Oxenfree. Well, here's what's going on in Oxenfree 2, or something like that.
Yeah, I think that
But
probably would have come across better if it had just been introduced and not the
yes,
one more thing, because it was like if I figured it out by the time the logo popped up, I was like, oh yeah, this looks like Oxenfree. I bet it's Oxenfree too.
but I was
But
saying, but I was saying too that I think for those people like my daughter, she loved the Oxenfree game, so she's probably. I actually have to ask her if she knows about this Oxenfree 2 yet, but she might be excited about this. Like other players might be like, oh yeah, Oxenfree 2. But for me, would have been a nice either at the beginning or end of the show. Fez would have done it for me. I would have been like, oh yeah, Fez is coming for the Switch,
swap them
So
around, or House of the Dead.
or House of the
right.
Dead, yeah.
House of the Dead, yeah.
House of the Dead would, because I mean,
Or
it's,
the
it's
Teenage
kind of a
Mutant
big,
Ninja Turtles.
Right.
yeah.
Because nobody knew what console that was coming to. If that would have started the show or ended the show, that would have
Well,
been
Yeah.
I think everyone assumed it was coming everywhere just because
Yeah.
Streets of Rage 4 was everywhere.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
true. That's true.
That's
At
true.
least I did.
For me, I think I've been looking back through this list of games as we've been talking, and there's over 10 games here that are like on my probably list, right? So for me, this is an A. Whereas like the last time they had an IndieWorld, it was like a fart in an elevator, man. It was not good
It was bad.
for me. And so this like was a return to form. I love seeing all the different ideas. I love seeing all the different cultures celebrated, with the different
Yes.
developers and things. I thought that was a huge win. And like so many of these, instead of me just going, yeah, okay, what's the next game? What's the next game? I was going, okay, I'm interested in this. Even Ollie World, which
Yeah.
I'm not a great skateboarding game. I'm not great at them, but I would like to try that. Where I think that they can improve on this is something that they've already done, and that is demos.
yes.
Indie games need demos. And I think this is a solution to combat Game Pass cannibalizing sales. Is if you give me demos, I will that I can try. That's going to make me buy a lot more of these on Nintendo
Right.
Switch than waiting around.
Yeah, and that's the trouble with the indie guys, right? Because it might be just one guy or girl making a game or a
That's
couple
true.
people, and they don't have the luxury of creating that demo, which is
Like,
unfortunate.
Like Dungeon and Gravestone. It's just
Yeah.
one guy. It's just one guy. You need to go if you, David, if you've not gone and read the description of Dungeons and Gravestone on the eShop, you need to go treat yourself.
Okay.
It's
There's some funny stuff in there.
It's good stuff, but the game looks really good. It looks like it's going to be one of the hardest games ever, but I mean, it just looks really good. Anyway, that's all about the Indie Direct. Also, I want to reference something that David's already kind of brought up, and that is Nintendo surprise dropped a brand new model of the Nintendo Switch Lite this week, which I guess we can say new model because it doesn't have really anything different, but a brand new color that, let's be honest, y'all, I don't know that there's been anything as divisive on color since the white, gold, black, blue dress.
Right.
Remember that? Remember that? What color is the dress?
I thought the same thing.
What color is this Switch?
It's blue.
It's
No,
blue.
it is. No.
Well,
Yep.
I've seen pictures. Pictures still looks different than the real thing, but I've seen pictures of it side by side to the launch Game Boy Advance. They're damn near identical.
Okay, so here's what needs to happen. Instead of showing me these fancy pictures of people playing them in a house where like there's a garden growing in the wall and all kinds of stuff like that, and everybody's drinking coffee and having tea in their cozy little couch, just take a picture of it with your dang cell phone, because that's going to tell me what color it is, right? You're going to know. Go outside, put some grass behind it, shoot the shot, and I'm sure it is blue, but y'all, it looks like a GameCube. I'm sorry. It looks like a GameCube.
It's not purple. It's blue.
Are you sure?
That bad boy's blue. I'm positive.
Yes.
No.
They show some pictures like the GameCube and the Switch right next to each other. It's blue.
I'm looking at it right now, y'all. And
Blurple.
it's not blue. It's purple.
Blurple.
It's purple. It's blurple. That's what it is. That's what we're gonna call it. Nintendo Switch
blurple.
Lite purple.
Yes.
But can I just be real? Can I just be real honest with you guys? This made me want to buy another Nintendo Switch Lite.
Listen, it did.
I think if it was the GameCube color or even the Game Boy Advance color, and they would have come out and said, "Hey, this is the GameCube blue or GameCube purple or GBA purple," then that would have sold Game
It
Busters.
was Game Busters.
But
You
if
know,
you did that,
just to collect
if you
it.
did that, then all the people like, oh, Game Boy Advance games are coming to Nintendo Switch Online.
There'll be a lot of talk about
Games are
that.
coming.
But they called it blue. They called it blue. It's a blue
They did call it
Switch
blue.
Lite. It is
I
not
haven't-
purple.
In the show notes, I even put blue in quotes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Blurple. That's what we're going to settle on. It's Blurple.
Blurple works for me.
Somebody needs to buy me one of these. It drops May 21st, which is the same day that Miitopia comes out for Nintendo Switch as well. So you can go pick up Miitopia and pick you up a brand new Nintendo Switch Lite along with it.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Mecha Dragon corrected me on the color. It was indigo.
Indigo. Well, you know indigo. Well, hang on. Let me bring up the definition of indigo.
But Nintendo didn't call it indigo either, so they called it blue.
They called it blue.
Well, it's indigo, which means it's a cross between blue and purple. So it's
Blurple.
It's Blurple.
It's
All right?
Blurple.
But
Yeah.
did you know the system is coming out on May 7th in Europe?
Really?
Coming
I
out
did
May
not
7th.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I don't know why it's coming out early like that, but it's coming out May 7th in Europe.
Gary Gray's going to get the hookup before we do.
Yes.
Yeah, Gary needs to buy one and tell us what color it is because he's already been on the Twitter saying he said this today. He tweeted a picture of it, no joke, and he said maybe I should buy a Nintendo Switch Lite.
Yeah. Because of the color.
So
Look,
I'll
I've
tell you,
got the gray model. I will trade anybody if they want to buy the blue one and want the gray. I'll trade you.
I tell you this,
All
man, if you don't have a Switch right now, I would pick up a Switch Lite, and
Really?
then when the
For a
Pro come
regular
out,
Switch?
then I'll trade it back in.
Yes.
Because to me,
Okay.
it's like, you know what? If you don't have a Switch by now, I don't know. First of all, where you been at?
Right?
It's funny. It's funny to see people come up there and like, man, do you know it's this Nintendo got this system that you can put it in the dock and call it TV? I think, yeah, it's been out about 4 years. They're like, huh?
I've been playing
Yeah,
it
for
since
years.
2017.
Yes.
Yeah. They're still sold out around here. Like they'll get a shipment in, and as soon as they put it on shelves, it's gone. And Furukawa, the president of Nintendo, even said today that shortages of the Switch could last through this year due to a semiconductor shortage. So
Everybody's feeling it.
yeah,
Even the automobile companies are feeling it.
Yeah. It's funny because we were driving to the store tonight after we dropped my daughter off at dance, and we passed a car dealership that we had been at and looked at before, and I looked over at my wife and I said, "They ain't got no cars.
You know, cars, yeah.
Where are the cars?" And you know what it is? Everybody they low production, and everybody's getting that stimmy, right? And they're going out and like, "Hey, let's get a new car." We're going to Disney on the stimmy, so we can't get a new car. We're going to stimulate the economy. It's just going to be in November. Play
Thanks,
the
Joe.
long game. Let's talk about some games that got some release dates and some new things this week. I talked about this on the show a few weeks ago, but the Blizzard Arcade Collection is out, and it is fantastic. This game released on February 19th. It has Rock and Roll Racing. It has Blackthorn and the Lost Vikings. And this week, 2 games were added to it at no additional cost. So they pushed an update on April 13th to add the Lost Vikings and RPM Racing. And if you're a fan of Blizzard back in the non-Warcraft days and StarCraft days with these games, y'all, this is an incredible collection. I wish that other companies would pay attention to what Blizzard has done here with this, because you boot this collection up and you get, on all these games, you get multiple system versions. So like for Rock and Roll Racing, you get the Super Nintendo version, the Sega Genesis version, and then they mold them together into the definitive edition. So like that has it all. Blackthorn, they gave you the 16-bit version and the Sega 32X version. And Lost Vikings has this definitive edition too, and now 2 new games. And I think I think it's only $20 or maybe 25 on the eShop.
I
It's a
can check.
crazy value, and it's got a really cool museum mode as well. If you've
20.
liked any of these games, it's 20.
Yeah.
It's
So
an
I,
insane value.
when this news hit, I checked the eShop web page to see how they're describing it. Is it 3 games plus 2 new ones? I'm like, nope. It says 5 games. So
Wow.
so it's not like you're buying free DLC. It's just part of the patch.
Yeah, so they just patched them out. I guess they weren't ready when BlizzCon happened. That would be the only thing I can think of why these came later. Also coming out really soon, and I'm hyped for this one. Shantae is coming to Nintendo Switch. This is the original release for Game Boy Color and the version that was optimized for Game Boy Advance as well. It comes out on April 22nd now. You've already mentioned limited run games, David. They're doing a physical version of this as well.
I'm
I
still
believe.
waiting. I'm wondering if this is releasing digitally, if limited run's ready to ship soon. I'm hoping.
Yeah. So Jesse put this in our notes here that this means that all the Shantae games throughout the entire series will now be playable on Nintendo Switch starting from April 22nd. If you're like me and you just joined in at Half Genie Hero and you were confused as crap about what was going on, but you love the game, then you can dig back into the archives now. And this, I think it's only $10. So
That's a
pretty
great
cool.
value.
Pretty cool. David, have you played any of the Shantae games?
I played it on the original Game Boy Color back in the day. I haven't played it since. Yeah, that was my. I love. You know what? To be honest, that was a great system. People underestimate that Game Boy Color.
People sleep on the Game Boy Color.
Right. I just wish I had a black light. I was doing this all the time. But it
Yeah.
was a great system.
I remember getting that for Christmas and not even knowing it was coming out. Like I was somehow out of the loop. And my parents bought me one, and the game that they bought for me was Wario versus Bomberman.
Oh man, golly,
It's such a fun game. It's Bomberman, but you can be Wario, and it has like crazy power ups and stuff. It's bizarre, but it's so niche. I don't know that. Anyway, it was a lot of fun back then. Also coming out, Picross S6. Jesse, are you ready for another Picross game?
Always. I finally finished Miku earlier this week. That was like 55 hours.
Dude, David, you shaking your head over there, but listen, that Jesse is a Picross fiend, and if it has to do with Picross or puzzle, pick-a-picks, that thing, he's in it. And like it'd come out, and then like the next show, he's like, "Yeah, I'm done."
He's the Picross master.
And that, like, I really believe that the reason they keep making these games is for you and Per Schneider.
Yeah, but I must say,
that's all we need.
Yeah, it's like you're gonna be in a nursing home somewhere someday, and Jesse's gonna be like, Picross S25.
I'm waiting for them to come out with a Picross versus game, and then we get Jesse and Per to fight.
I
what's coming?
would love that.
You know what's coming?
It's going to be Picross 99.
Picross
Yes.
99.
Picross 99. How many of you can finish the puzzle or fall asleep?
In my case, I'll probably do both.
Right.
Can I ask something, Jesse? You, like, let's just be honest. We're all dads. We're all, whatever. Do y'all just sometimes just fall asleep playing a game?
Oh man, all the time. I did last night.
And I've mentioned this before playing Picross. In fact, while I think it was S4, I was recording some of me doing the larger puzzles, and putting them on my own channel, and I was dozing off doing it, while recording, dozing off, and so because
Not a good advertisement for the game.
no, but again.
Oh, this is
For
a great
me,
game.
Picross is a mentally relaxing game. And
is.
you get to a point. What happens to your brain when you get so relaxed? You will doze off.
That's right.
Yeah, the gameplay is the gameplay, but for me, it's relaxing. For other people, it's a big stressor.
For me, it's Lego games. Like, my wife loves Lego games. She is so hyped whenever a new Lego game comes out. And she'll be like, "You want to play a level before we go to bed or whatever?" I'll be like, "Sure." And I don't know if it's like, you got to break everything, right? So you're just running around tapping the button over and over and over. And I guess that rhythmic tapping and everything, There's so many times she'd be like, "Are you playing? Are you coming? Are you coming? Or do you just need to drop out so I can finish this level?" And I'm like, "No, man, I'm fine."
First of all, Marty, let me say something real quick. Hey, man, you win because you know what? Your wife plays games with you. I bought my wife a Animal Crossing Switch. This new, like, all right, this is it. You know, I bought a Ring Fit Adventure, Animal Crossing, and she played it like on Christmas Eve. That's it.
No, but David, think about this. How often do Lego games come out? Right. So I mean, in the last few years, it's been like maybe one a year. Like now there's the drought where we're waiting on the Star Wars Skywalker.
Yeah, you've been waiting for Skywalker Saga for 2.5 years
and now. I'm like, because she has a house on my island on Animal Crossing, so like we built right next to each other, and her like mailbox has been like bouncing back and forth for like 4 months, and I'm like, "Hey, baby, you gonna come back to Animal Crossing?" No. And my kids are even in on it now. Like, "Mom, you're neglecting Animal Crossing. You know how many roaches are in your house?" And she's like, "Don't care." Okay,
yeah, that's hilarious.
Anyway, so Subnautica and Subnautica Below Zero are both got a release date May 14th. They're both going to be coming out that day. And also Neo: The World Ends With You got a release date this week as well. July the 27th will be coming out. And I know there will be some people who are really excited about that one.
I'll still be playing Zelda.
Can I just say this? If that game can get a sequel, where is my Chrono Trigger remake or sequel? For the love of God, at least just put it out where I can play the original on my Switch. That's all I want.
It's the little things in life.
Chrono Trigger.
Before we leave talking about World's End With You, the anime just started this week. It's airing in North America on Funimation and Hulu. So I watched episode 1 earlier today on Hulu, and I'm not familiar with the game, so I'm not sure how they compare, but I'm liking the story so far. Though I'm thinking the battles themselves seem pretty fast and not exciting. So hoping things evolve as the season goes on.
Awesome. Well, let's move on. Let's talk about a book that released this week that probably a lot of us have purchased by this point or have had pre-ordered for a while, and that is Ask Iwata, which is a collection of writings and interview blips from the late Satoru Iwata. How many of you guys picked this up?
I did.
I haven't read it. I didn't start reading it yet, but I have it.
I agree. I haven't read it yet.
I read some of it.
Yeah, when this released in Japan,
so Tim,
the title
out of
was
all
a lot
of us,
fun.
you've read the most of it. So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts so far?
So it's already, it's talking about, it's from Iwata's perspective, I think, if I understood how I was reading it. So just kind of going back, jumping into it right now, so I can kind of refresh my memory here. But yeah, it's from his
class.
It's from his point of view. So like if he was writing this himself. Yeah. So however, as I listened to what they had to say, I would always speak up when I had something to say myself. So yeah, it's like from his point of view, and there's an introductory to this book that talks about how they wrote this, how these group of people came together with the permission of Iwata's family and the help of them as well, to put together the things that they learned about him from all of his Ask Iwata type stuff and other conversations that he had at this magazine in Japan. And I forget the magazine, but it was very interesting to start reading it. And like, he actually wrote this book, like that he was still alive and able to write it. So, and that's where I'm at right now. Is I'm only like, I got 16% of it done. That's what I like about Kindle. It tells you how much you got of the book done.
It helps me. It helps me challenge myself. Like, you ain't read enough today.
Right.
You need to get those percentage up a little
Mole
bit.
in the chat already finished it.
Well,
of course, Mole did. Mole is the man.
Like 158 pages, right? I mean, it's not very long, but I wanted to highlight a comment that somebody on posted about on the Nintendo voice chat forums on Facebook. He took a picture of this from page 114, and Iwata is talking about
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
Right.
Yeah, if you don't want to know about this, it's a book, y'all. I mean, he said it already. It's not spoilers anyway. Well, I guess it is if you haven't followed everything. But he was talking about online gaming, and I feel like a lot of things that Iwata did. I mean, we're living in the Switch era. I feel his fingerprints over everything that Nintendo's doing right now, right? Like this is the system that Iwata imagined. This is what he wanted. He knew Nintendo was headed in this direction after the Wii U. And I feel like a lot of his thinking influenced them. And I feel like this quote, more than anything, kind of sums up Nintendo's thinking on online gaming. Listen to this. Very interesting. He says, in my view, the online games of the world are unfairly biased toward the strong. It takes the bad luck of 100 or 1,000 players to make a single player happy. Of course, I don't mean to dismiss these platforms wholesale, but as long as they retain this element, things will never expand beyond a certain level. As fun as it might look from the outside, most people will drag their heels at the entrance. There has to be another way. I've spent so many years trying to figure out how to make these online games a place where parents can feel comfortable encouraging their kids to play, and how to create a world where harassment is not an issue.
That's the main reason why I don't play online games, because I agree with that statement. It is
totally
a system for the strong.
Moreover, what I've heard about this book, and I've got to purchase it. I didn't pre-order it, but
shame.
I know, shame, right? I mean, you know why I didn't pre-order it? Because I don't read. It's a bad habit.
Neither do I. I just collect books. I have
I collect.
50 art
I've
books
got
behind me.
bookcases all around me, and they're filled with
my last
books
name is
and
Reed.
toys. Yeah, but one of the things I've
use
heard,
that statement? Do you use that with your kids?
All the time. I just get teased all the time. I'm like, David, go read a book. I'm like, you little varmint.
Yes.
One of the things I've heard about this book over and over is, like everybody that's read it walked away saying, this guy just generally wanted people to be happy. Like he dedicated his life to making people happy.
Yeah.
And that's like, to me, that's awesome. And he also, this poster, he posted this, he says, in this book, Iwata also talks about his management style. And I stopped as I'm reading and went, why in the world would bosses not want to lead like this guy? And
because they can't buy 3 yachts a year that way.
Right. That's right. I mean,
and people don't understand the importance of service.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my
gosh. They don't understand the importance of service. And I think Iwata understood that, you know what, to be truly happy, you have to go out and be willing to give yourself to other people. And that's what he did. He pretty much just gave himself to the whole industry.
Dude, we didn't invite you on the show to preach, but please be my guest.
I
mean, that dude, like, I'd listen to a podcast on that all day. Because seriously,
listen, that's right, all day.
Like
man.
Tonight, we were driving again, take my daughter to dance. And we were talking about just what's going on in the world and everything. And my wife got on this, and I got in this conversation about. And this is totally a chase rabbit here, by the way. So this is just extra for you on the podcast. But we were talking about personal, that everybody has. We have in our country. We have, we have this freedom to be able to do whatever we want. We're the land of the free and the home of the brave, right? So we have this, and everybody wants their personal freedom. Like you can't tell me what to do. You can't, but in that, yes, we're free, but we also have a personal responsibility to each and every other person that we come in contact with. Like I have a personal responsibility to my kids. I have a personal responsibility to you. I have a personal responsibility to our listeners. I have a personal responsibility to the people I serve here at my church. That's right. And so I sometimes to live into that personal responsibility means that I have to temper my personal freedom.
That's right.
Right. And it goes along with what you were saying. Like as a boss, Iwata had the personal responsibility or personal freedom, do whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
He was the man at Nintendo. And then the Wii U fails, right? And in his personal responsibility, he says, "Hey, lower my salary
That's
so we don't
right.
have to fire anybody." That's service, and
That's
that's something
service.
that we don't see in the world today, and we very rarely see it, right? And we see these companies who are having to lay people off. Like a great example of this recently is Activision, right?
Mhm.
Activision laying off hundreds of employees while their boss gets a huge
Right.
bonus. That's not
Yeah, I've
personal
always wondered about
responsibility.
that. And the bonus is such a large amount. I'm like, the bonus seems larger than the
Right.
salaries of those who you just tossed. How is that cost saving?
You know why, you know why that happens is because when that dude signs that contract, he gets something that in the wrestling business is called a downside guarantee.
Mm.
And that is you can make all this money, but you're at least going to make this much money. And then if you do good, we're going to give you this bonus, and it's going to be a percentage of this. So he's getting his percentage,
Hmm.
and whether it's right or wrong, right? And that y'all, I didn't mean to get into all that, but seriously,
Anyway,
you lit a fire under me
Right.
just
yeah,
a
so
minute
again,
ago.
I haven't
This is what
started
dads
reading it.
do.
I haven't started reading the book yet, but the back cover has like my favorite quote that I know. You know,
Yes,
on my business card, I am a corporate president. In my mind, I am a game developer, but in my heart, I am a gamer.
That's right. All
because he
day.
understood, right? He understood that who he was serving because he
Hmm.
was one of them.
And
That's
I've always
right.
looked up to him just because, normally if you're a CEO in the company, you never were in the grunt work. Were never in the
Yeah,
trenches.
you wasn't making videos.
You went to school to learn how to run businesses. You never did anything but run the business. But he started out as a developer at HAL.
Yeah, since Reggie and Iwata left, how many times you seen Doug Bowser and Shuntaro Furukawa in a video?
That's right. And you
Come
won't
on,
either.
I mean, just call it what it is. How many times
Yeah,
you seen them?
Mm.
like
We're gonna pass it off to well now because of COVID, it's like it's some disembodied voice. It's right.
well, even like the amiibo reveal when Reggie and Iwata did like a real fight in quotes.
Yes.
Obviously, you could tell that they weren't in the same studio when they recorded their parts.
No.
But still, it was edited well and it was
But
fun
they did it. But they
when they
did it,
did
and
it.
it was awesome. And I mean, what's the only other company that we see kind of doing that right now is Apple, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you'll see Tim Cook, but even you don't even see much of Tim Cook anymore when they do presentations. You see all these other guys
Yeah,
that are the heads of things.
he'll
Because Tim
bookend it.
Cook's not Steve Jobs.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
Tim Cook will bookend the presentation, and then other people will be talking in the middle.
He'll just come out to be like, and we think you're really gonna love it. Everything. We think you're really gonna love all of this. And
We
here's
made
all
all the money last year.
And
We
here's the
love it.
pricing.
Now you're going to love
Yeah.
this.
Here's all the numbers. Now we really hope you'll go out and spend more money with us. Bye. Yeah. So Ask Iwata is out right now. You can purchase this on Amazon. There is a digital version. I think Tim, you looked it up earlier. It's $12. And so again, 158, 153 page book. I can't remember which. It's a simple read, but a great way to honor the memory of one of the most beloved figures in video gaming. I don't think there's any question that we can say that the amount of honor and respect that people show toward Satoru Iwata is incredible, and this little collection of his wisdom is going to be priceless. I'm going to go buy one tonight. I'm going to rectify that wrong. Shame.
That
I
oversight.
know. Shame. Jesse, I know that we're not in events yet, but this next news topic is a softball for you to hit and lead us straight into events as well. So tell us what's going on with Pokemon Home.
Okay, so as part of news, Pokemon Home is going to get a June update that will discontinue support for older mobile OS versions and devices. So you have to have at least Android 6 and iOS 12 to continue using Home. And in comparison, the latest versions are Android 11 and iOS 14. I think I saw a stat saying like 90% of Apple devices that are iOS 14 capable are using iOS 14. So this is more a case of hardware deprecation than anything else. But they didn't specify any Android devices, but they did say that iPhone 5S and 6 will have end of support. So my second device is an iPhone 7, so I'm good for a while. Okay, and this will then lead us into events. Mecha Dragon asks if his Samsung S10 Plus okay. Again, I presume nothing was said about Android devices themselves.
Yeah, you have to say what the Android OS you have.
It depends on what version of Android OS you have. You'll have
Right.
to look at that. And if you don't have at least 6, you can probably upgrade it, update it.
Right.
Okay. There's a few Pokemon Go events. The first one is Friendship Day, April 24th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. local times. Various grass-type Pokemon will be appearing more often in the wild. There'll be a Friendship Day collection challenge that if those who complete it before the end of the event can earn 100,000 XP. There'll be additional hourly global challenges to earn 20,000 XP each if completed. And there's an increased chance of a lucky trade until 5 o'clock, local time that day. Trade distance will be temporarily increased to 40 kilometers. There'll be a 3 times catch XP bonus, and incenses and lures activated during the event will last 3 hours. The next event, I think, they just announced yesterday. It's in celebration of the new Pokemon Snap beginning released on Nintendo Switch from April 29th at 10 a.m. to May 2nd, 8 p.m. local time. Pokemon that are inspired by the deserts, jungles, and underwater landscapes of the Lentil region, such as Lotad, Cacnea, and Ducklet, will be appearing more often in the wild. Smeargle will be appearing in snapshots more often than usual, with a chance to be shiny only during the event. Pokemon that are inspired by the Lentil region, like Vaporeon, Meganium, and Trampish, will be appearing more often in raids, and they'll be and look forward to an event-exclusive field research and timed research that's focused on taking snapshots.
All right.
And then looks like Tim added something he wants to talk
Tim
about.
is going to let us know about another important event as well.
Well, before I do, I was going to ask David, do you play Pokemon Go at all or anything like that? Or
I got a good story about the Pokemon Go real quick.
Sure.
I don't play it anymore. I played when it first started, and I was an early investor. I was buying Nintendo stocks when it was like before the Switch, when it was like NX. When they were like, "Oh, this is the NX," and so I had bought a ton of it, and then
Nice.
Pokemon Go dropped, and it was like, I'm rich. and then the next day they was like, you really know that Pokemon is not owned by Nintendo. And I was like, I'm poor again. It was like I had all this money, and then the next day it was like it plummeted.
right.
But yeah, we used to play it all the time when it first came out. You know, we was doing stupid stuff like me and my wife and the kids, we driving around the cities, you know. I think I scratched my rims up. I think I hit a curb. It was crazy. But no, I don't play Pokemon Go anymore. My son plays it still.
Okay.
My son says he does play it.
Yeah, I played it at the beginning too, but I haven't played it last couple of years. So, but Jesse's been doing it.
I still play it every day. I have 2 accounts. One's a level 41, one's a level 42.
Yep.
Oh, so it was you that was beating me in those gyms, huh? I saw you.
That's right.
I know you.
Jesse is he's deep in.
Go Team
he's
Red.
invested money.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So what I was going to bring up was just as I mentioned earlier, the dinner table show is the once a month event that we have here on the Nintendo Dads for the community, where anybody can join in on the podcast and talk about various things, and it's dinner themed. That's why it's called the dinner table show, but it's themed around the dinner table because it's kind of like when you're with your family around the dinner table and you talk about stuff. That's what this is about. It's basically us Nintendo Dads family getting together around the dinner table and talking about various things around and I break it down by, appetizer, the main dish, and sides and dessert. So, and tomorrow's episode is going to be about I forgot, but we're going to talk about the book. Yeah, that's going to be part of the cocktail hour or dessert time. But I'm sure somebody will pop up in the show or in the notes and remind me. But it was like I had to come up with something. I was like, what is it going to be about? Because it's one of those things where it sneaks up on you. It happens every third Friday of every month, or third Friday of every month, and it's one of those things where I try to prepare for it, but when work and school and everything that gets in the way, it's or not get in the way, but when you got all that other stuff, when you got life stuff, adulting stuff that gets there, then you're like, oh crap, dinner table's like 3 days away. So
start thawing that protein.
And
yes.
Tim, don't forget, our Let's Play weekend is this weekend as well.
That is correct.
With Jesse and I playing Jackbox games with our listeners twice on Saturday. One of those times is at, help me out here.
So we do the times at 3:00. This is going to be Eastern time right now. I'm mentioning 3:00 Eastern, but it's 8:00 for our UK people. Because we're trying to do an afternoon for the majority of the people who are here, but we want to include the UK people where it's nighttime for them. So we try to accommodate them to do a gaming time for them. And then we do another one later on at 9:30 Eastern Daylight Savings Time, again, for the people here in North America.
Yeah, and so you can look for us on YouTube and Twitch at those times on Saturday. And we would love to play with you. I also am going to sweeten the pot here. There's a new game that just came out on the eShop called What the Dub that we're going to be playing as well. It has over 300 movies clips that have been dubbed, and they show part of it, and then the next one you get to write your own, and then it reads it out loud for you. And you vote on the best. So at some time in there, we're going to be playing a little What the Dub as well.
Is that similar where only the host has to own the game and everyone else plays on their phone?
I do believe so. Yes,
I didn't buy that one.
It's like $6.99. So.
All right. So the guys in the chat reminded me what the tomorrow's show is going to be about, and it's going to be about indie games. We're going to be talking about the indie games, not only about the recent show, what everybody's interested in with the showcase, but also I wanted to have a discussion with everybody about what was the first indie game that you played that you can remember. Oh, wow. So that's going to, hopefully people are trying to remember that. I'm trying to remember that myself because it's going back and looking back. Okay, what would be considered an indie game before it blew up? And then, what would have been my first one? Whether it was good or bad, maybe I'll hear some stories about that. And then, of course, I'll probably hear some really good ones that people played and love to talk about. So
Jesse, I want to circle back here and answer your question. Yes, you can play without owning the game. And it says you can enter text using phone, tablet, or computer.
Perfect.
So we'll be playing some of that as well. Well, guys, that is our news and events. Let's move into what we've been playing, shall we? David, it is our tradition that guests go first here on the Nintendo Dads podcast. And we want to remind you, you don't just have to talk about Nintendo games you've been playing. You can tell us everything that you've been playing. So what have you been playing lately?
Well, even though I was blessed enough to get a PS5 and an Xbox Series X, they're just sitting there. I have not played anything on them for a while. I've been strictly Switch. And the two games I've been playing lately is that I'm still going through the training for Monster Hunter so I can get out there. But my time has been really dominated by Pac-Man 99. Love that game, man. Because I grew up. I'm a 70s baby. Ooh,
okay.
Put my age out there. Born in 1975. I'll be 46 on Resident Evil Day. And so
75 in the house.
In the house, baby. But I grew
74.
up playing Pac-Man. I had a ColecoVision. I had a ColecoVision with an Atari adapter, and so a lot of I'm just that Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man arcades. I don't care what anybody say, man. We grew up in a great time. I mean, a great time when you had arcades. But man, this Pac-Man 99, man, it just tickled it does something for me. It is so competitive and so fast. It's like, you know what? And when it gets really intense, when you're down to that last 10, it's like your heart gets to pumping, and the games are quick. You know, I put a poll on my channel about which 99 game was the best. Was it Tetris or was it Super Mario 35? And to me, Pac-Man 99 is the best. Then Tetris, then Super Mario Brothers. The Super Mario Brothers, you know, I liked it. The game just went so long.
It was forever. Like you'd be 30 minutes, 45 minutes in the game if you were good.
If you were good, right? So it's like,
and then
it slowly.
Then you
declined.
wouldn't lose because you made a mistake or someone got you. You lose because you ran out of time because the clocks go down that fast.
Yeah. So that was one of the things. But Pac-Man 99, the games are really quick. I don't know I don't know if they're using the new online system. But I mean, the games get in. I haven't had any hiccups. It's been great.
No, it's so good, and I love. Like I'm like you, man. I'm a 1980s kid, right? Like I was born 1980, and so the very first video game I ever played was in a laundromat, right at the arcade. You know, they had Centipede there with the rolling ball, goodness. And so it was either Centipede or Millipede. I can't remember which one it was, but that was, and then Donkey Kong. And then from there, it was, you know, playing at the arcade until I went over to a friend's house and he had the NES. And I was like, you can play these at home? Right. You know, and then from there, it was all downhill. Yeah. So, but I remember playing Pac-Man in the arcade. I remember walking in to the Walmart in my hometown and Miss Pac-Man being there by the door. And this was back when like Walmart, you know, was Walmart, not Super Walmart, not whatever, you know, you had one entrance. They shut down at 9 o'clock at night, just like they do now.
Right. Yeah.
You know, but there's two arcade moments I remember, or three that I remember specifically from Walmart. Miss Pac-Man's one of them. Number two is the first time I ever played Street Fighter 2 was at Walmart. They had Street Fighter 2, the World Warrior, the original fighter, you know. And I had to go with my girl Chun-Li, you know. Oh yeah. And just see what that was about, because you know I was 11 at the time. I had to see the hormones. Had to see, you know what I'm saying? Look, you laughing because you know I'm right? You know I'm right. Like it's like that. Hey, there you go. Yeah, I was like, can I have some more quarters, please? But no, so from there, the other one is that when I was 12 or 13, we would spend every Friday night, me and a group of friends would spend every Friday night at at Walmart. At the beginning, like at the front, you know, when Super Walmart used to be cool, you know, they had the arcades at the front, right? And they were the only place in town, the very first place I ever played Mortal Kombat 2. So my mom would drop me off at the Walmart with a $5 roll of quarters and enough money to go to the Walmart deli and get a hot dog and a Coke. And we would play Mortal Kombat for like 2 hours. You know, put your quarter up. Who could beat who, right?
Could beat who?
Figuring out the moves, figuring out the fatalities. Oh.
Hey, man, those games, man, that, and like you said before, like Killer Instinct, man, that announcer, Ultra Combo. I love that, man. Oh, yeah, man. That's why I want about that announcer.
Yes. But now, like Pac-Man, though, I love it because it's serious nostalgia. Now, we talked last week. I think there's some problems with the game. And one of the big ones is the paywall is ridiculous in this game. Like, you know, you want to play with your friends, well, you got to pay $14.99.
Yep. That's
a little much. But I'm glad somebody else is enjoying it. I love it.
Well, I want to say this one last thing. The problem I did a video on it. The issue I had, my issue with the game is that playing it with a pro controller is terrible.
We said the same thing
It
last
is
week.
absolutely terrible.
And I've heard multiple podcasts say the same thing.
Terrible.
So
But
what do you like
solution.
playing with? What is your preferred go-to?
the best way to play it is on the light, or if you
Oh, come
have one
on.
of these, yes, playing it on the light. That D-pad on the light is absolutely outstanding. But hold on, I'm gonna show this controller here. This is the Power A Nano. The D-pad on this controller is great.
Tim, don't you have that one?
Right here.
Yes, this is a great controller,
Dude,
man.
why are you making me buy a new controller? I just bought
I listen. I will tell you.
Joy-Cons.
Listen, you know what? Listen, my hands are not super big, and I like it because of the footprint. It's a small controller, but man, it gets it done.
So
It
this
gets
this
it.
one is the Power A enhanced wireless, and I have yet to try it.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
This is-
try
this
that
is my-
D-pad.
This
That's
one
my
is-
new litmus test for whenever I get a controller to try out. It's now to try the D-pad with Pac-Man.
Yep.
Now I have
You're
the
right. You're right.
I have the
And I
Hori
got-
Zelda Joy-Con. You know, like the only left one that has the D-pad that you can only play in handheld mode.
Yes.
And that's the one that helped me beat Mega Man 11. So I may try that out on there.
So this one I got, it's Binbox Pro controller.
That looks cool.
And I tried the D-pad, flawless with Pac-Man.
Ooh.
Really?
Flawless.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
say the name
Let's
of
go
that
to
controller again.
Amazon.
Binbach.
Binbach.
Binbach. Yeah.
Have you seen those Joy-Cons, dude? They have like the light up ring around the sticks. And they look like the Hori gamepad, you know, these. They're awesome, but the D-pad on them is crap.
Yeah, the D-pad sucks
Yeah.
on these ones.
Yeah, the D-pad. Yeah, the
So-
D-pad sucks on this.
I'm trying to start it up.
It's not that bad, but I really like this
The
controller.
battery died. Oh yeah, I remember you talking about that one.
Yeah, I really like this controller.
But I'm like,
Hey,
I'm
can I
collecting
just-
all
I
these
just wanna
joy
say
these
this, by the way,
controllers.
for our listeners, and I know there are a lot of these people who were listening and saying, "Oh man, the Binbot Joy-Cons, they're out of stock. I can't find them. I can't get them anywhere." They're up on Amazon right now. They will be in stock on the 22nd. You can buy them. They're $56.99 for the pair.
Yep. So yeah, this is the light up one that they have, and the D-pad. I will say this: it's all clear plastic and no grips on it. So if you're using this one a long time, you do slide. But I talked to them about that, and they said that they're working on a new design for this. So keep an eye out for.
Okay.
Because they said they got a lot of complaints about that, so they're working on getting the grips for that. But the D-pad definitely, got the highest I ever got in Pac-Man 99 because of this D-pad not messing up, where I wanted
Now,
to go.
Can I say that?
You haven't won yet?
I have not won yet. No.
He did. Look, he's. You
I have
know
not
why he's
got
laughing,
first
'cause
place
he
yet.
Does. He does.
Oh yeah, I've won quite a few times.
Yeah.
Tell you, man, once you get your pattern, it's over.
Yeah. I haven't played it enough to do that. I just jump in, play once in a while, and then I got closer when I was trying out that D-pad, but not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Listen, try it with
The highest I can get is 7.
I think I will try it with
I
the,
don't know
the
why I get
Nano.
stuck on
I'm
the
going to
seven
try it
all
with
the
that
I'm
time.
Nano.
telling you that. Ooh,
All
that's
right.
flawless.
David, was there anything else you were playing? Just Pac-Man 99 was
It's
the last
happening
thing?
and Monster Hunter going through
Monster.
the training. I haven't got through all the trainings yet.
Yeah, that training, man. That's the toughest part of playing that game. And then once you get
Brutal.
past that, I've been having a lot of fun with that too, with that game after I finally went past that. It's
Yeah,
like because
Marty-
you can play it any way you want, essentially. Kind of like
Marty-
Breath of the Wild was,
Right. Marty said, "Hey, you fell asleep."
Yes.
Last
Yep.
night I was going through that.
I did that
training,
too.
was like,
Monster Hunter.
Monster Hunter during the tutorial. I
Oh,
was like,
man.
I got to get past this tutorial, and I'm sitting there on the couch. Everybody else is doing their own thing. I got it on the TV, and I'm like, my head's
killer,
falling.
man. That's a brutal train. They got to do something about that. I
It
want to
is
get into
brutal.
the game because they want to say it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's get past that, and then you'll probably have to watch even some YouTube videos and stuff like that. There's some good YouTube videos for beginners. In fact, John from our Dad's After Dark show did a really good because he played it for the first time, so he gave some good pointers from the beginner. And then we've got Third Strongest Mole in our chat who's played for a while, and he's been helping a lot of us noobs out with this game. So
Oh, man,
I
that's right.
really want to love Monster Hunter, But every time I play it, like I played the demo for this one, and I'm just like, I can't.
I love the
Yeah,
demo.
there's
That demo got me.
the
I was like, all right,
demo.
I'm in.
The demo, that's why I stayed away from the demo, because I wanted to get through the tutorial when I got the game, got into the game. And it's like Breath of the Wild, like I was saying, where you can go your own path and what you want to do. You can go exploring, you can go after the monsters, you can go do the multiplayer, you can do all of the above and stuff like that. And I'm just starting to find out about exploring the maps, because there's like new maps I'm getting to where I can go discover these hidden caverns and hidden objects that you can find and collect and stuff like that. So there's like different things you can do in the game beyond just going after monsters.
So Tim, you're saying that I should go out and explore first before I just go attack somebody. I liked about the demo.
What I'm saying is go with how you like to play. Go
Okay.
with how you like to play. If you like going after attacking, then you do that. That's because you play the way you like to play. That's what I like about the game. That's the same with Breath of the Wild, right?
Wild, yeah.
You go in there and you attack the game how you want to attack it. You want to go slowly and discover things, then that's your thing. You want to go right after the big four, then you do that. You want to go right after the main boss, Ganon, then you do that. That's the thing. And I think Monster Hunter has got that in mind as well, where you can go in and do any of the things you want to do with it. Multiplayer, the main story, discovering things, exploring, all those different things, and I think are available. And there's probably other things that I don't even know yet. So
I do think that Monster Hunter wins an award for one of the best looking games on Switch.
It is.
I've seen so many like great movies and screenshots from that game. Like that's what makes me want to play it. But then, like, I get that there's Monster Hunter has a whole social aspect that I can't get, like, I can't be a part of because our internet sucks.
That was the fun part of discovering too for me. It was like I did my first go, open up the online, open up my gates or whatever you want to call it, and allowed anybody to come help when my son Sammy and I were playing, and we teamed up, and then two other people showed up and they were higher levels, and we ripped through my first level, monsters that I had to get through on the hub tasks or hub quests. And I was able to knock those out because I had those higher level people just come in and help. Community people that you don't even know coming in and helping you knock out these monsters. And I got, extra points, extra monster parts and all that kind of stuff. And it was just like, it's fantastic. It's just that getting past that tutorial, getting past the nuances of learning all these menus. And that's the thing too, is like right now I've been able to play with not knowing everything about those menus. Okay. But I've been learning a little bit more about them that can help me along the way as I progress. So, and that's one of the things I liked about John's video. He was talking about some of the things that helped him and some of the things that Third Strongest Mole in our community mentioned about too, about taking time to set up some of the menus for quick access, that actually mean something for you, so that you can, instead of trying to scroll through a list, you just do a quick drop down of a menu and call your dog over and you can go riding anywhere you need to. So that is one of the games I was playing, but I didn't write it down because I talked about it last week.
Well, that's okay, so. Tim. Why don't we just go into what you have been playing? Because, like, as usual, you have a paragraph.
Well, not too long this time. Not too long. So I've been also playing Say No More up to chapter 4. Jesse, I know you've been playing it and actually beat the game, but I still got a little ways to go. How many chapters were in this again? 8 chapters. Okay, so I'm getting to the halfway point there, but it's a hilarious game. I've been dying laughing at the stuff what it does. And there's basically, you're an intern that's learning how to say no to your bosses, and at the end of chapter 3, I learned how to say no to the president of the company, and I almost got fired, but lunchtime happened and everybody just stopped what they're doing. It was like, oh,
It's like a boxing
lunchtime.
match when the bell rings. Everything
Yeah.
stops.
Everything stopped, and everybody went about their lunch and just left me I didn't get fired. So, because I lost, that was the first battle I lost. And your battle is basically telling everybody no different ways, because you just say no,
Which language
or
did you choose?
you can laugh. I just did English, I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I just did English, but you can change different ways, different languages of saying no too.
I did
So
Japanese.
nice. You can laugh at people first, then say no, or you can do a soft no, where it's just like nah, and it throws people off. Or you can clap, yes. You can do like people will just start talking about what they want you to do, and you'll just start clapping at them, and they'll just be like, "Wait, they get all confused." And the graphics are polygonal, like from PlayStation, or Virtual Fighter type polygons. If you remember Virtual Fighter.
Yeah, I would say it's more like Super Nintendo polygons.
Yeah,
Almost.
those old Sega games with the big polygons, with the, like I said, Virtual Fighter or just any
Star
of those.
Fox on Super
Yes.
Nintendo.
Oh yeah, Star Fox from 64. Yes. Or from Super Nintendo. Yeah. So just the huge polygons, but it's hilarious writing, and I'm having a blast with it. But of course, other things have come up, so I've kind of stepped away from that and played Stitchy in Tooki Trouble. Did a review on that game and put it up on our site. And actually, I also have a video on the Say No More game as well. But if it's not out yet, it's going to be. Justin controls the keys for that stuff. But Stitchy in Tooki Trouble is basically a Donkey Kong Country or Crash Bandicoot type game, 3D type game. It's a lot of collecting, it has some kind of, the stars remind me kind of a mobile game-ish type thing too. But you get through the game, and I actually had a lot of fun getting through the first world. There's like 3 worlds and 9 levels per world, plus a hidden world, a hidden level and a boss level. So like 11 levels total on each of these worlds. Right now it's only showing 3 worlds. I wouldn't be surprised if a hidden world came up or something, but it's actually been ramping up pretty good to where it's like, I think anybody can jump into it, even kids, for trying a game like a Donkey Kong or a Crash Bandicoot game for the first time. This would be good for them. But it does ramp up to where they might have some difficulty, and mom and dad may have to come in and help them towards the end. But I've been having a blast with it. Marty, you said you had some comment about it too.
Yeah, I thought this kind of looked like Donkey Kong Country, the ripoff.
Well, isn't that a lot of indie games doing that though? Like,
yeah,
like, you don't think it's more of a tribute, that you're thinking more of a ripoff?
Let me tell you another issue that I had with it. I watched the trailer for this game because I was a little interested. Watch the trailer for this game on Nintendo's own channel, and tell me when the music hits, like, because in the front he's like a gray scarecrow, and he comes to life. The music when he comes to life, tell me that that's not ripped straight from a Mario game. It's real close, like spooky close.
So you don't want to try it because you think they're ripping off Nintendo?
I just think that it looks, like there's some levels of it that look like they're almost lifted directly from Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze.
Okay.
I was looking at it, like even the textures, I was like, I feel like I've seen that before.
It does look like a lot of those type of games.
Concept before, like the same concept for the level. Like there's a level in Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze where a sea monster attacks you, right? There's a level in Stitchy where a sea monster attacks you.
Yeah, I just fought the boss that was a sea monster in the video I did.
There's minecart levels, and it's like
there is a minecart.
This is almost like it's Donkey Kong Country without being Donkey Kong.
They called it out in there. They said this is paying homage to those games they like.
Okay,
the Donkey Kong and the Crash Bandicoot.
Great. That's fine. Where I would have an issue with it is if it was, there'd been nothing said, and it's kind of like, oh yeah, oh we didn't never really know it was that similar.
No, they called it out in
Yeah,
the
you did.
description. They definitely call it
Okay,
out in the description of it.
okay,
So, but I understand too, if you play a lot of these, especially if you played Crash Bandicoot 4, you may get burnt out by this type of thing. You may not want to play another one of these. You may want to wait
yeah,
for the next thing. So, but if you don't, like me, I don't jump into those type of games. I did it because it looked interesting
yeah. I
and I
mean, I
wanted to
get
do a
it.
review
Like
of it.
I
So,
play a ton of platformers, so they
yeah.
all kind of start blending together. I'll be honest about that. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
but
you could
like
get
the
burnt
first,
out.
like seeing the video, I was like, this is just Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah,
with a
it's first.
scarecrow.
So Stitchy in Tooki Trouble is the game again that I was talking about. So, and if you are into the Donkey Kong and Crash Bandicoot type games, then check this out. But it goes to the point you mentioned earlier, Marty, that I wish more and more companies would do demos. If
Yes.
even if they gave you the ability to play like 3 levels, the first 3 levels, and then stop it and say, okay, are you interested and you want to buy it? I think that would be great. More and more companies need to do that. So then you can just keep continuing on. And then that way they get more people to try their game and then, that kind of thing. So, but anyways, yeah, again, Stitchy and Tookie Trouble or Toki Trouble. If the video's not out already, I think it'll be out within the next day or two that I did about that. So you can check out my Let's Play of that and first look of it. Again, I mentioned I played Pac-Man 99 with using that Binbach controller. The D-pad worked out great for it. I am going to try the Nano next, thanks to David's recommendation there. Played some more 1-2 Switch this week with my son, actually earlier today. And I have to say that I know I mentioned last week, and a lot of people are kind of like, 1-2 Switch, whatever. It's a great game to play with your kids. We are having a blast. It's new to him. He's having a lot of fun with it. And he keeps asking me, hey, can we play that again? And I'm like, sure, let's go. Let's play. They seem simple and silly to us, older gamers, but to the kids, they're having a blast with it. So I would say pick that up if you can find it. I was able to find it for $40. It's still, still people want it. So because people want it, it's still going to resell higher. So if you can find a copy, pick it up and play with kids, your kids, your nieces, nephews, or even at a party. It's silly enough to do it at a party, simple enough to do at a party. They have a party mode, in fact. I haven't been able to try that yet, but maybe I can report out on it next time to see how that works out. So, but again, give that a try. 1-2 Switch. SNES Wild Guns, again, I played that originally. How long ago did we try that, Jesse, when it first came out?
I don't remember how long ago, but it was when it was new to the system. We played it.
We played it because we tried the Puyo Puyo game. We were doing Puyo Puyo Tetris, and then we tried out Wild Guns just for the heck of it. But yeah, we didn't know what we were doing. But because of Monthly Mayhem that we got going on, which is our monthly thing that the Dads After Dark guys throw together for us, and this month they've been doing challenges in the community for us to play each other using the NES games and the Super NES games, either cooperative versus or by yourself. So today was a cooperative game with Ibicel, where we played the Wild Guns game, and we had to stop because we didn't have a time limit. We had to stop and look up the controls because it was frustrating us. We didn't know what we were doing with the controls of this game, and it doesn't tell you anything in the settings. It tells you what each button does, but it doesn't explain any more in depth other than B is to jump, Y is to shoot, and A is to some other third thing. I can't remember it off the top of my head. Oh no, it was X. Sorry, excuse me. X is the bomb. So you can throw a bomb there. So anyways, we found out that you can hold down the Y to shoot. You tap the Y to throw your lasso. You tap B once to jump. Tap it while you're in the air again to double jump. And while you're holding the shoot button, you can press the B button to dodge and roll out of the way of gunfire. those things, Jesse, if we would have known those at the time we were playing, I think we would have done a lot better than what we did.
Sounds
So,
like
so I'm kind of curious of how it plays out once getting more familiar with the controls and stuff. But it's still a pretty tough game. But knowing that, definitely, if you're going to try that game again, look up the controls and try it again. Maybe you'll be surprised and like that game, the SNES Wild Guns. And last but not least, I finally got to try out last night Aerial Knight's Never Yield game, the demo. And man, I'm having a blast with it. Just getting used to the controls, understanding how it plays, and the music is phenomenal. I even went out on Twitter asking Aerial Knight if he was going to release the soundtrack somewhere so I could listen to it at work or something. But yeah, that game I'm having a blast, and I can't wait for it to come out.
kind of reminds me of Bit Trip Runner. Is that kind of similar gameplay to that?
I actually didn't play Bit Trip Runner. I didn't play that game. I think if it's a runner, then I don't want to call it a runner, because I know that one of our guys in the community got yelled at by Aerial Knight saying it's not a runner.
Well, at least Bit Trip Runner is a constant runner. You can't stop, where you've got to jump, slide,
right,
and do other things in to avoid obstacles, but it also does it in beat to the song.
Yeah. Yep. So this isn't in beat with the song, but yeah, that's right. I remember as you mentioned that. I do remember that about Bit Trip Runner. But again, the soundtrack is really cool. But this is a demo, so who knows what might change by the time he does release the game in mid-May, I think it was. There may be some changes, and I know, Marty, you were hoping for some changes because you played it as well.
Yeah,
and
so
I can just drop it off to you from here because that's the last thing I played.
Yeah, I love this game. I love the aesthetic and I love the music. What I noticed though was a lack of sound effects, and I thought that was kind of like, I didn't notice it in the trailer, I guess, because like people were talking over it. But there's stuff in this game like explosions and bursting through windows, running through doors, even jumping. That I felt like maybe we're gonna have a soundtrack, or maybe one of two things happen: either the sound effects weren't ready yet, and we're gonna have those added in later, or maybe it's so it doesn't take away from the soundtrack that is so good. But either way, even if it never gets sound effects, I think this is an easy pickup for me. I know that he doesn't want compared to things, because I know there is a narrative to this game, which I appreciate. But Cannabalt, I loved back on iOS. I thought that was great. Bit Trip Runner, I love, and so I'm totally in for this game. I think that it's got the right amount of flow and difficulty, at least in the demo. It was there was good flow, but there was times where it would slow down and it would allow me to take a minute to make the decision I need.
Yes.
And I also really, really love the idea that all the game's moves are mapped to directions on the D-pad.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. Even though it took me a moment to figure that out, I just realized what was going on the screen.
I mean, once you get it, it kind of the way it flows together is really cool. And by the end, I was noticing, there's little cues on screen before you even get to an obstacle that are warning you, hey, the color red is associated with up,
yes, on
the directional pad. So you see these little sparks of red, and it's warning you, hey, you're going to need to press up here in a minute. But again, great aesthetic, killer soundtrack. I can't wait for this game. So
how long is the demo?
3 levels, which is actually pretty meaty if you die a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like what I did.
It counts.
I want to say
it counts those deaths too.
You play level 1, 2, and then 5. You skip forward a little bit in the story, and there's not really anything given, but it's like the main character is kind of normal, and he has a prosthetic leg, and then boom, level 5 happens, and he's wearing a gas mask, and his eyes are glowing, and all kinds of, I don't know what's going on there. So, but It's obvious, like you can tell the story, you can kind of infer the story through what's going on. You're escaping something, you're running away because of something. And the first couple levels are getting out of this facility, and then in level 5, you are in the city that's like neon and like dystopian everywhere. It's pretty cool.
And that's what I think everybody's got to
Detroit.
remember. It is it is based in Detroit, which is really cool. Again, somebody who made it from Detroit, and got the lead music person from Detroit as well. Even though they worked with people around the world on the music, the lead musician on it is also from Detroit, which is really cool. Of course, I have to support that.
Yeah.
But again, it's a demo, what I was trying to get at. So hopefully there are these things that he hears about and he's probably going to fix, or
and Tim, you can back me up on this. They only one music track throughout the demo, at least that I noticed.
Yeah, as far as I noticed, I only played the
tracks.
first level though, so
It kind of repeats through the whole thing. It's a longer, so it didn't really bother me, because again, I was telling folks earlier, like, you know, I'm into, you know, hip hop, chill hop, you know, that kind of thing right now, lo-fi stuff. So that doesn't really bother me if it's kind of repetitive. But this, I want to see more. May 19th. This is day one for me. Also this week, I've been playing the Cris demo. I kind of mentioned that before. And I also played the R-Type Final 2 demo. And
you got a demo for that?
Yes. It is out. Lets you play the first stage.
Break out the Switch and download it.
It's really cool. Like, I've never played a shooter that actually had a story that allowed you to respond and make decisions before.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool. I don't know that I'll pick this up. Probably if it goes on like for full. I don't know if I'll pick it up for full price. I would probably pick it up like when it goes on discount.
Oh, I have it pre-ordered. I didn't know.
Okay. All right. I mean, hey, it's just who knows, I might. What I find though is that like a lot of retro games like this, and I mean, I like Castlevania Retro Collection, Konami, Contra Retro Collection, stuff like that. Like I download it and I'm all excited about it, and I play a couple levels and I'm like, you know, I'll get back to it, and then something else comes along. And that's what I'm afraid is going to happen with this game. The other game that I downloaded that I'm super, super excited about is Fez. I picked Fez up back on the Xbox 360 when it first came out, and got about 25% into it and lost my way. And another, again, tidal wave of games came out at that time, and I never finished it. And I thought this was one of those games, as John Blanco reminded me, I said would never come to the Switch. And he, as soon as the direct was over, tweeted me. He was like, well, look what's wrong, or something like that. And I was like, look, I'm happy to be wrong on this one. I thought this was a game that would never, ever happen on Nintendo Switch or anything else ever again. But I'm glad it's here, and I can't wait to play it. This is also a game my son picked up as well. He got some birthday money. Last week was his birthday, and so he's basically spent all of his birthday money now on video games. I'm like, good boy. He bought these two games. He bought Fez, and he bought There Is No Game, and he bought a bunch of V-Bucks too for Fortnite. And
Fortnite.
Look, I'm big in it too, man. But anyway, he told me this afternoon. He's like, I bought Fez too, but I can't play that yet because I'm too far into There Is No Game. He's like, I'm sucked in. So I was like, well, yeah, you need to think about Fez. So like, you need to wait until you're ready to devote some time to that game.
Yeah, the other game isn't all that long. He'll probably have it done in a week. Then it'll be Fez time.
He'll have it done this weekend. Yeah, he's already on chapter 4.
Are you playing Fortnite on your Switch?
I do. Yeah, I play Fortnite on Switch.
Have you downloaded the improvement, like the performance improvement? Is it noticeable?
Yeah, one of the most noticeable things is that updates don't take forever and a year to download anymore.
Right.
The other and it decreased the file size on the Switch. The other thing is, like, I feel like I'm getting into games much faster, and there's much less stutter and like graininess. It does feel like there was a graphical improvement.
Okay.
So I'm excited about, like, the problem with me on Fortnite is that I had my account logged in on an Xbox One, and it got hacked. And now Xbox One, like they won't let me back on the Xbox One, or they won't even let me link it back to my Xbox gamer tag. So now I'm playing it on Switch, but then on PlayStation, I had it on PlayStation 4, and somehow it got linked to my email, but like with a different gamer, like my PSN gamer tag, and now it won't let that link either. So I've got a PS5 and can't play Fortnite on it. Like I've got all these skins and all this stuff, and it will not. They're like contact Epic Games, and I'm like, when I got hacked, I went 2 months contacting Epic Games, and they were like, basically at the end, they're like, you'll just have to sign in. I'm like, sign into what?
Right.
Like like it's locked out. Can you you can't tell me you can't flip a switch or check a checkbox and let me back in. Sorry, so I just play it on Switch, and that's fine because that's what I normally have with me. I'm not lugging my PS5 everywhere I go. So Fortnite on Switch is fine for me. But that's what I've been playing. I'm looking forward to digging into some more Fez this weekend and some There Is No Game as well. That's the game that I wanted to play with my wife, like because she loves escape rooms, and I feel like it's just a game version of an escape room. So I keep saying we'll wait and play it when we can sit down together and get into it. So, Jesse, what have you been playing? Round us out here.
Okay, so the first game I picked up, it was a game that I think it released yesterday called Park Inc. It's like $3. It's one of those stupid little things you've seen on mobile where you have a bunch of cars and buses in a parking lot and you need to get them out in the right order without hitting things. And I think this literally came out of a mobile version and then ported to the Switch, because you earn coins when you complete the stage, but there's nothing to spend the coins on, because because it's not going to give you ads like a mobile game would, and it doesn't have any add-ons you can buy or like additional car models or backgrounds, like the normal thing you see in a mobile game. So it's pretty meaningless and brain dead game, and not worth. Don't buy this. It was only $3. If it was any more, I wouldn't have bought it. But here's the funny thing. Okay, another reason why it was mobile game ported over. It's touchscreen only. You cannot. As soon as you launch the game, all the controllers will disconnect from it. The only thing you can hit with attached controllers is hit the home button. Nothing else works. Which also means there's no way to save. So like I was able to get to level 150, 170, something around there, by putting it into sleep mode and then done, and then coming back to it. But then when I quit to launch the next game I want to talk about, when I'm done with that, I went back into the original game, and it says, "Oh, here's level 1. Here's how you play." I'm like, delete. I normally don't delete games off my Switch. This is the game I deleted off my Switch. And the funny thing is, there's a game called Park Inc. on iOS. That's a completely different game. So I don't even know what the genealogy of this game is.
Yeah.
But it's just weird. Okay. The other game I played on Switch today, the Picross S6 has a demo. It gives you, I think, 3 stages of normal Picross, 3 stages of Mega Picross, 1 color Picross, 4 parts of the, I forget what they call it, but when you, like, the big puzzle is made up of smaller puzzles, so you can do 4 of the smaller puzzles, and then it gives you 1 of the large 30 by 30s. So I played through everything that the game will let me play through. It took me 50 minutes to play through the 30 by 30, and so a total of about an hour and a half. I don't know if these completions will carry over into the game next week. I'll find out.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, I was about to ask that. Does it carry over?
No great loss, because I'll do them again. It's just, again, it only took me an hour and a half.
Picross S6. Woo!
Okay. Okay. We talked about Say No More. I did finish it. I did it all in one setting. It took me about 2 hours total to play through it. It is funny. It's worth a playthrough. I also played a game on the Super Nintendo for Mayhem. I don't even remember what I played. I don't even want to look it up. It wasn't a very fun game, but
Must have been the Peacemakers.
That was last week. Or yeah, that
There's
was
been
last
some
week.
big duds come out on
Yeah,
there
but-
lately.
he had 3 of us play it at the same time, and we get points for how far we can get. Plus, the person who gets the most points got the bonus. And I was the only one who beat the first stage.
Did you play
Yeah.
with Mecha Dragon? Was he in it? Because he said
Yes.
Earth Defender.
That's their Earth Defense Force.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's probably
that was
it.
it.
Okay. He said he
Out of
sucked
all
at it.
the games on Super Nintendo, and you're gonna put that one on there.
Well, that's the Mayhem guys. They pick the
Yeah,
games.
The game gives you 6 weapons to choose from, and like the first 3 or 4 run-throughs was trying different weapons to find out which one I liked the most. And the one that I think all of us, at least 2 of us, went with was a homing weapon. So I can just sit in the corner and fire, and it'll hit everything on the screen. Each individual shot is weak, but over some weapons you can't even aim. You can only shoot horizontally, which means you got to be the one moving around.
Yeah.
And so it's still faster to take out a target with 10 weak shots versus 2 well-placed, well-aimed shots that are impossible to aim.
Right.
Then the last thing I wanted to mention, last weekend when my son was over, he brought over Oculus Quest 2. And he had 2 games on it, Beat Saber and Superhot VR. And the first thing I wanted to do is wonder if can I log him out, log me in so I can play a new game, and the answer to that is no. It's like a 3DS. There is no way to log out. If you want to log someone else in, you have to factory reset that thing.
Wow.
So
Okay.
it's meant for a single player. Anyway, so the Superhot it's like it was weird when the first thing that came up was you're in a small room, which looked like what my computer room would have looked like when I was 20 years old. It's just a small little computer room shack, and you look at your hands, and one of them is just a robotic hand, and one is you're holding a disc. So okay, put the disc in the computer, and then there's multiple monitors. One of them is broken, but you look at another monitor that's working, and it loads up, and then it says put on the VR headset. I'm like, I'm wearing a VR headset. What's it talking about? And my son he has it set up so what I see is being streamed to his phone, so he sees what I'm seeing, and he goes, look up. I look up, and there's a VR headset, so I grab it, put it on my head, and then it launches the game. But since I was playing his save state, it was somewhere later on in the game, so it didn't last really long. So it's
Yeah, you didn't get to warm up.
I think there's a version of this on the Switch.
Yes,
But-
there's the Switch version that you can play, obviously not VR. They do have it on the PlayStation VR as well.
Yeah, so this is the game where if you're not moving, nothing else moves, so you can kind of look around and strategize. And then if you want to advance time but not physically move, move your hands around and that'll work. So the game starts off with one person running you, so you have to make a fist and punch them. And then you see 3 other people out of range with guns, so you just to dodge the bullets. And then you are put next to one of the 3 guys. You punch one out, take its gun, then you can shoot the other 2. And then it brought me into a new level, it's like a pool hall. So I'm on one end of a billiard table with balls. People are all around the table with guns aiming at me. I'm trying to dodge the shots while picking up billiard balls and tossing them at them, and I didn't. That's as far as I got. I didn't survive that level. So I don't know where in the game that is, but I wasn't able to start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Then Beat Saber. It's a I don't know if you've played this or heard of it, but it's basically a rhythm game. So think Guitar Hero, Rock Band, and it's got it's notes coming on a track with 4 lanes, but these lanes are in 3D space. So not only are they in 4 lanes horizontally, they can be in any one of 3 positions high. And you're holding what looks like lightsabers. One's red, one's blue, depending on which hand you're holding. And so you have to, as the boxes approach you in 3D space, you have to slash the square with the right colored saber in the designated direction. And it's challenging at first to figure out what they want you to do it, but once you get into the rhythm, it makes sense. They'll have you purposely swing down, and then the next note for that color will be an upswing. So it's a rhythm to it. And my daughters said that when I took a picture of my son playing it, it looks like he was just kind of flailing.
Yeah.
But because, if you're actually playing in a drum, there's a finite 2-dimensional area that has a stopping point that you can't go past that. So every strike is intent. It looks like it has intent, but in Beat Saber, the target is in 3D space, so there's a lot of volume that can count as a hit. So you don't have to be as precise and exact. So it does look like you're just kind of wobbling your arms around, but if you're actually looking at the gameplay instead of looking at the person playing it, it makes a lot more sense.
Right.
So I played I didn't play any of the games that came with it. I played some of the DLC packs he bought. One with a Believer that Nintendo used in the big Switch reveal.
Yeah.
It took me like three or 4 runs through it, but I did beat the song on normal. And apparently the one run, I only made 1 mistake. And my son noticed it at the time I made the mistake. He says, "You had like a streak of 150 going on there." And I'm like, wow. So yeah, it's fun. It's got me wanting to look into VR. I don't know if I want to go Oculus or something a little bit more powered. It would probably require me to play it connected to a computer, but I don't have room here. I'd want to use my spare room, which means I'd probably have to get another computer for that room just to play games on VR on it. But and a lot of the games I wouldn't want, aren't me games. They're shooter games or weird games. So I'd have to look to see other games I will play and what type of hardware I want to look into.
Nice.
But yeah, I've had a taste and I like it. And I'm wanting more.
Nice. And it didn't make you feel weird. Is a shocking thing.
No. I didn't play with my glasses on. I normally have good close vision. I need the glasses to see things more than a few feet away.
Yeah.
So like playing a game like Beat Saber where I don't have to read small text and you have large objects, I was able to play that without a problem. Things that required me to do some reading was a little blurry, so I probably should play those with glasses on. And they do have like a spacer that you can put in the headset to give more depth between your face and the lens, so you can have a pair of glasses on and not hit things that shouldn't be hit.
Okay.
Awesome.
So I'll be looking more into those.
Well, guys, that is what we've been playing. So let's turn on the community spotlight for just a few minutes. So, David, you are better known across the internet as Gaming Dad, and you've got quite a good thing going on over on your channel and your stream there. So why don't you tell people who've been listening, where can they find you? How can they check in on your work? Tell us what you've been up to lately. Basically, just use this next time to promote the heck out of yourself.
Oh, man. Whew. Thank you. I appreciate it. You can find me on, if you're just log into YouTube and you type in Gaming Dad, I am the first one there. We do a live news show every Monday night called This Week in Gaming. Every Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come on out and hang out. I give out a free Nintendo eShop card every episode.
Wow.
I've been able to keep it up. Just from the support. I have a really great community. We small, but man, they are committed. And through their, saying this support of the channel, man, has allowed me for well over a year now. Matter of fact, no, a year in July. We were able to give out something free. This week, we're giving out a free 3 months pass to Xbox Game Pass. So come on out. And the only way you can come in and join is about just coming in and say, hey, you don't gotta stay long. Just come in, chit chat for a little bit and get out. But you know what? I put everybody into this wheel, and we pick them out. And if they don't win, they gotta get out of there. So
I made it in the top 10 twice, but I
twice.
haven't.
You haven't won yet.
I haven't
Don't
won
worry,
yet.
your time is coming, Tim. Listen, it has to happen. And so yeah, that's every Monday night, man. So you can follow me on YouTube at Gaming Dad, or you also can follow me on Instagram at Gaming Dad 3. I'm also on Twitter at Gaming_Dad 3. And that's really about it, man. I got a funny story how I got into YouTubing, because I wasn't, this wasn't gonna happen, but now the Nintendo Switch Lite came out on September 20th. Now September the 10th, I'm in Walmart getting my oil change. I go back there, and lo and behold, there's one yellow Nintendo Switch Lite, and I know, I'm a gamer. It's early, so I asked the lady. I said, "Hey, you know what? Are y'all selling that?" She said, "Yeah." She went over there, rang up, cashed out. I went out to the parking lot, and I posted a couple pictures on Twitter. So at this time, I'm a consumer of YouTube videos, so I'm reaching out. I'm saying, "Hey, you know what? I said first of all, I went to Player Essence. I said, "Hey man, I got the Nintendo Switch Lite." He dissed me. He was like, "Man, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. Get out of there." I went to Obi-Wan. I was like, "Man, I got the Nintendo Switch Lite earlier." He said, "You're lying. Get off my stream. This really just dissed me." And so I sent pictures to Spawnwave, and then Spawnwave ran with it. He put me out, put my Twitter stuff out there and everything. And then from there, a friend of mine was like, "They used to do unboxing." And I did an unboxing, and before you know it was like 80,000 views. It's like, what? And so
Right.
I kept getting these requests like, "Hey man, can you play this game on it? Can you play this game on it?" So I became like this what you call blockbuster of just playing games on my Nintendo Switch Lite, and I let my children play Fortnite on it. Oh man, it was like 200,000 views, and from there it just evolved. And so I kind of wanted to switch directions. So probably about a year after that, I kind of just started doing the gaming stuff. And so I still do like videos on the Nintendo Switch Lite, but this is like the show is what I really, really love. I love the community. I ain't gonna lie to you, I have a great, nice, chill, non-toxic community. Them guys, they just come in, man, and just show love. And that's to me, that's my spirit. And I'm glad that comes off into the chat. So I have a great time, no matter if I got 2 people in there or I got 30 people in there.
Yeah,
So
when
I try
I've
to,
come to join in, everybody is just like very welcoming and everything like that. And I just, it's like about a couple months ago when I popped in, and even you, David, were very welcoming and all that. And just like, "Hey, Tim, how's it going?" Or if I had my Neo Prime name on it, just
yeah.
like, "Hey, Neo."
Tim, so you Neo Prime?
I'm Neo
Yeah,
Prime,
oh, that's
yes.
so crazy. Oh man, it's crazy. 'Cause, you meet so many different people, but you know what?
Yep.
Like I just know them by their names. So that's good to meet you, Neo Prime. Oh
Yes.
yes.
So yeah, and that's part of being, coming to see that. And that's kind of like with our community too. We have a really good community that's come together knit tight, but anybody new comes in, they open with open arms, they welcome them and stuff like that. And it's the same with your community, which is really cool.
Yeah,
And
this community has been here for me in some really difficult times, and for all of us in difficult times, reached
yeah,
out and done stuff behind the scenes and talked behind the scenes. Like I, I was not prior to getting on this show. I never had that internet community that I called my home.
Mm-hmm.
But this has really become that for me. Like I don't know what I would do without our Discord and server and the people in there. And it's I mean you, like we've never met. Like we've never met in person. I don't know Tim in person. I don't know Jesse in person. I don't know Justin in person. Like I've literally never met them in my life. I would consider them some of my best friends because, we do the show together every week, and yeah, I mean, like, we get it's cool to have the community and people watching us and the views and all that stuff, or people send us demos or send us codes or whatever. That's great. But ultimately, what it comes down to is this gives me an outlet every week.
Yeah, that's
Right.
right.
To talk about the thing I love.
It's like therapy.
Yes.
It's like therapy. Yeah. That's how I look at it the same way.
That's the way I was talking about at the beginning of the show, is like, this is what, when we do the intro, I'm always saying, this is the start of my weekend. This is being able to hang out with these guys, talk about games. Cause like Marty was talking about, he tries to talk games with anybody else other than his kids. With his wife, he gets shot down. And, I mentioned a few things, and although I do have, my kids are gamers and my wife plays a little bit too, it's not the same level though. Like
the same level.
Yeah. So like with these guys, I can talk about certain games that I can't necessarily talk about with them. So yeah, it's definitely really cool to be able to do this kind of stuff, and then to be able to have that connection with everybody else, like you, David, be able to go out and go to your show and watch it and have that connection with games and be able to talk to you about games as well from your perspective. It was just awesome as well. So
you know what? Listen, I'm glad that now I can consider myself a part of the Nintendo Dad community. Because I would definitely be back to watch you guys stream. Because I was like, I didn't even know. It's like, you know what? Until like Tim reached out to me, and I was like, man, yeah, of course. And then I went to doing research, and then I'm gonna tell another small story. I do this a lot, but I have another job. I work 2 jobs. My other job is that I supervise children who are in foster care. So when the state comes in and for whatever reason takes that child from that parent, the state mandates that parent has a weekly visit with that child. So I'm the guy who goes and picks up that child, takes him to the parent, and then supervise that visitation. So I'm constantly driving. And if you ever been to Georgia, man, nothing's close. A half an hour drive is close. So I'm always driving. So I can now, like this weekend, I cut on your guys' podcast, and that's what I did. I just listened to the podcast and rode and drove, and I think it's wonderful. So you're definitely have a subscriber in me, and I definitely will be back. I hope pray one day you'll welcome me back. I totally enjoy my time here.
Absolutely,
totally
man. I love what you're saying about foster care there. My sister-in-law currently has 3 children who are fosters, and her best friend is a good friend of ours, is a foster parent too. So that's very near to our family. So that's awesome that you do that. That's really cool. And so y'all listen, if you're listening to the show, it is mandatory viewing that you go check out Gaming Dad this coming Monday night at 9 Eastern. That's daylight savings time. That's 9 Eastern. Y'all go over there and show him some love. Go find him on Twitter. Check him out.
Yes.
And man, such a cool story about you and the Nintendo Switch Lite.
Listen, I was telling you, I was lucky. My wife's like, so what you gonna do now? They keep asking all these questions. I said, well, I guess I might start a YouTube channel. And so
that's fantastic.
From there, I'm here.
We kind of had a similar experience with the Nintendo, the GameCube controller, the wireless GameCube controller.
The Waveboard.
No, the one that they put out for Switch.
Okay.
When Smash was first coming out, they put out the wireless GameCube controllers. We got one of those. They were like, "Do you want to review this?" And we were like, "Yeah." Well, nobody else had one, and so our video hit and blew up 90,000, 100,000 views. I was like, I'm just doing this, like I'm filming it on my iPhone, standing in front of my fireplace in my house. Like, let me show you how it works. It's janky as all get out, but people watched it, man. And when you're able to get a exclusive thing like that every now and then, it's really a cool feeling to be able to do that. But ultimately what it comes back to, I think in your case, in our case, is it connects you to people.
Yeah.
And you giving away stuff every Monday and stuff, that pulls me back to that comment you had earlier in the show about, wanting to serve people, wanting to, like Iwata understood what it meant to serve people. And I see that in you. And so I'm telling our listeners, you go check out Gaming Dad. That's Gaming Dad on YouTube. It's Gaming Dad 3 on Instagram and Gaming_Dad 3 on Twitter.
That's right.
Y'all go blow him up.
I appreciate it. Thank you, man.
Yeah. So let's get into some questions right here. And we're going to throw these just out there, and anybody just grab hold and answer. We're going to kind of do these speed round. All right. Because we've got quite a few, and we're getting a little long on time here. Mecha Dragon 101, one of our most faithful listeners. Dude, I love Mecha Dragon. He's got a question every week. It's so good. He says, I'm just going to kind of boil it down to his question. All right. Because he says, because of the indie showcase yesterday, he wants to know what do we consider or classify as an indie game? Like, what makes a game truly an indie game? How far does a company or game studio have to go to basically not be considered an indie game anymore? All right. Right. And he gives this example. He said, despite being one of gaming's top selling games, some people still consider Minecraft an indie game.
Yeah. Minecraft stopped being indie as soon as Microsoft bought it.
Oh,
right.
Well,
exactly.
Then maybe there's the line, right?
Okay, well,
That's
here's my thoughts. If a publisher is paying for the development of a game, not indie.
Agreed.
If one or a small group of people are making it out of the goodness of their heart, even if a bigger publisher publishes it later, that's indie.
Yeah.
Because they may have funded it post development or partially in the middle development, but it wasn't the main.
Let's do an example here. Minecraft is not an indie game anymore because Microsoft bought it, basically.
Right. Mojang is still Mojang, but it's funded by Microsoft.
Let's go back to the indie showcase. Getsu Fumaden is not an indie game.
Well, again, that depends.
Because Konami's funding it. Konami's publishing it.
Well, but we don't know if Konami paid for the development or if they
developed it first and then came.
If it was
to
developed
Konami.
first and then they bought the rights to publish.
Then let's go one further. Undertale and Deltarune are still indie games, even though Nintendo has pushed them to the moon when Undertale released and when Deltarune released. And maybe there's some money there. We don't know. Because they sure did get invested.
But he made those first. And then
they were PC games.
Indie.
They were self-published PC games first. So the Nintendo version is, that port might be debatable depending on how much what the funding was, but the original concept of the game is indie.
Okay.
The other one too, the Cuphead. So they started off as indie, and then Microsoft bought the studio or those guys.
So then from here on, Cuphead 2, when it eventually comes out, it's not an indie game anymore.
Right.
Cuphead 1, indie game. Cuphead 2, non-indie game.
Right.
Cuphead 2 is a first party Xbox.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yes.
Yeah. That will eventually come to others.
And then even Ori, I don't think is consider that as indie anymore. Because that was started off as indie, but then again, Microsoft took ownership of that too.
Yeah, I don't know if you can consider Ori 2.
Ori 2, I'd probably say no.
Yeah.
The first one.
They still showed it as indie game. They brought it in the Indie Direct when they talked about that game coming to the Switch.
Yeah. So definitely there's a line. It depends on when the publisher got involved. But games that have sequels that have firm publishers and the publisher is obviously funding it, those aren't indie anymore.
Okay. Well, let me use that question to backpack into another question from Jesus Amata. He says this, basically indies are good, but he feels like they're filler games. But he has had some indie games that made him play over and over and he's loved. So he asked this, what are your favorite indie games that you have played? They don't have to be on the Switch, just any indie game that you thoroughly enjoyed and you wish it would get more attention. And he said on his end, he enjoyed SteamWorld Dig, the first one.
Yes.
And he's purchased the game 5 times. But, SteamWorld Dig is his first one. He says he loves more people were able to get into it with SteamWorld Dig 2. But what indie games that you wish were more in the spotlight?
My friend Pedro.
Yes.
My friend Pedro.
Love that game.
That game is outright awesome. Nice. It's not too long. Maybe like 6 or 7 hours. But man, that game, crazy story, crazy gameplay.
Yes.
Yeah. That and Hollow Knight. Oh man, Hollow Knight, so good.
Axiom Verge.
Yeah. Oh man.
Axiom Verge.
See, I couldn't
Now,
get into
that's-
that
if
one
it-
when I tried. But this is no game that was. I played it again. I played it on PC and I liked it. Another PC game that I've mentioned in the show a number of times that is Doki Doki Literature Club.
Yeah.
Mm.
If you haven't played that, that's one to look to check out. Just heed the warning at the start of the screen. You're gonna think it's a joke, but it's not.
I'll tell you one that I came to mind, and I like this was my game that I kind of fell into last year around the time the pandemic started, and I played it like obsessively. Is One Finger Death Punch 2.
Oh yeah. I
Listen,
forgot about that one.
David, I don't know if you've heard of this game, but
One
it's
Finger
like
Death Punch 2.
you're a stick man and you're in the center of the screen, and the Y button makes you attack to the left and the A button
about
makes
that
you
one.
attack and dodge to the right. And it's all timing based. It's all rhythm based, but it is like freaking stick man John Wick.
Yes.
I mean, you just destroy armies of stickmen, and like stuff starts happening. Like you start unlocking powers, and it's pretty soon like you're shooting ice tiger heads out of your hand, or cutting people up with a chainsaw. It's all stick, but like in the levels, I mean, like there's like a progressive map system and all kinds of stuff. You go
$9 on the
All
eShop.
Down.
$9 on the
if you're
eShop.
into kung fu at all, like if you're
Oh,
into
yeah,
that
yeah.
type of thing, beating down folks, and like it punishes you because it's like it tells you from the very beginning of the game it's not a button masher, right? You got to time your button presses, but it does such a good job of slowly guiding you into that by the time you get to the end of the game, you're fighting like waves of 900 enemies at a time.
Marty, I swear, at least once every show, you have me add something to my wish list or I buy something.
No. There you go.
One Finger
You
Death
need-
Punch 2.
One
Yes.
finger death punch.
I put the link
Dude.
in our chat too if anybody else is interested in
It
watching
is
live.
an unsung gem, and it will suck you in. And I'm just going to go ahead and like, I know everybody hears this question and they think Marty is going to immediately say, enter the Gungeon. Yes. Enter the Gungeon. It is the indie game for me. Seriously.
Yes.
Like it's 4 years in and I cannot stop. I can't.
So
I still
again-
pick it up during the month
Enter
and
the
play a
Gungeon.
few times, but I will say this, the unsung hero of roguelike shooters on the Nintendo Switch is Flint Hook.
Oh
It's
yeah, the Flint
so
Hook game
good.
was good.
Bionic Commando and Mega Man had a baby with roguelikes. There you go.
Ooh.
Dude, Flint Hook is the bomb.
Ooh.
And
Say it again.
the
Flint
what?
Hook.
Flint
Flint.
Hook.
Flint.
Yeah, it came out the first year and for the Switch.
Yeah, so you're basically a pirate who has this grappling hook that you got to use to grapple through all these roguelike rooms on these pirate ships that you're going and taking down other pirates,
Mm.
right? But once you take down those ships, it has level progression. So every time you play them, they're going to be different. But like in the story beat, you've beaten that pirate. And so you're able to buy upgrades that help you get to the next one. And so like the journey to the boss of each level is different ships that change during the time. And like they'll have all kinds of different things. Like this one has heavier enemies, or this one has more treasure, or this one has more shops. And you have to choose between them. But the whole time, like there's unlockable upgrades that you can equip too that permanently alter, how much power you have going into the game.
It is on sale
And
for $9
it's-
right now, by the way.
It's chef's kiss. Flint Hook.
Flint Hook is on sale.
Yep. Go buy it
$9.
right now. Everybody. Go.
I have one more game too that's
Look,
not on the Switch.
$20. A $20 bill today gets you two of the best indie games on Switch. You get One Finger Death Punch 2. You get Flint Hook.
Oh,
Done.
yeah, I just bought an eShop card yesterday.
There you go.
Listen, all right, I'm good.
I have one more that I wish would come to the Switch. I'm hoping my luck with that will come, but I'm not going to mention it tonight. I'm going to mention it on the dinner table tomorrow.
He wants a reprise of his Fez prediction.
Yeah. Okay. So like, yeah, I see what you're doing. Drive people to do it.
Draw me.
It's cool. It's cool. Chris Logal asked this. Tim, this is your question. This is for you.
Okay.
Any news or updates on NHL 94 Rewind coming to the Nintendo Switch other than disappointment?
So any news? Yeah. So my aunt who works at EA says that no, I have no idea. I wish I knew somebody at EA.
Look, and Chris knows he gets on this all the time, but like he just knows I'm not a huge sports fan. That's cool. Like this one not being on Switch again, I said it before, it's a no-brainer.
Yes.
It's
I've
no-brainer.
I've yelled about this before, and David, you and I talked about this before about getting Madden and even NHL games on the Switch. And I've mentioned in the show before that why hasn't EA gone back? There's going to be plenty of people who would take that NHL 94 Rewind formula that they did specially, doing a Madden formula with updated rosters on the go on the Switch. To me, that would sell gangbusters. And yes, and it doesn't make sense to me that there's just money to grab out there on the table that they haven't done yet.
It's almost like they don't want the money. It's like no way possible. It's like
right.
That's like the easiest money grab. Period.
Right. Exactly. It's
hopefully we might get that college football game.
Yes. I'm still waiting for the show to come out on the Switch. They said it was supposed to. So
yeah.
It just dropped on PS5. You never know. The Switch needs more sports games. Bottom line, that's a very thoroughly neglected genre. Bruce Patterson, he asked us this, and I'm gonna throw this one straight to you, David. Here it is. What are your thoughts on the pros and cons of having xCloud on the Nintendo Switch online?
The pros is that you're giving Nintendo Switch more options. You know, games that we typically would not get nowhere else will be able to have. However, it could eat into potential sales of other games. You know, sometimes people just buy a Switch and they'll just buy xCloud. Why would you need to go out and buy these other games? There are definitely, like, a lot of these indie games will get cannibalized because, you know, they're not as top tier. But, you know, if I'm playing Halo and I'm playing Master Chief Collection on the go, I mean,
well, at least those games are still getting Microsoft money. They're not getting money from the Switch.
Right. It's like, you know, right. That's the question. Like, you know, you're making money for Microsoft, but how big of a cut is Nintendo getting? I think Nintendo, I don't think having Game Pass, unless they was to trickle it down to just first party Microsoft. If they did that, that would be okay.
So a more curated list of games.
More curated list for Game Pass for the Switch. But if they go full blown, you know, the only good thing about it is EA Play is on Game Pass. So,
and then you get NHL.
That's how I get my football.
Rewind.
That's how I get my Madden.
You get everything. You get Fight Night. You get it all. You know.
That's how I've been playing my Madden is through the xCloud through my phone.
Right.
So with the EA Play on it. So I've been able to get my fix that way, but I would rather be playing on my Switch.
do you have an Android or do you play on
Android?
Android. Oh, man. God.
And I have the Power A Moga controller. I don't have it next to me, but I got the box. I have this one that came with the clip.
Okay.
So, and it's phenomenal. I love the controller. It's been and the whole clip set up and all that kind of stuff. That's how I've been playing some of the Xbox stuff.
And Madden plays well.
It played well for me. I was able to play a full game of football on it. It's the only problem is on my phone. The only problem is because it's small.
6-inch screen.
Small,
it's small. That's why I would love to have it on the Switch to be able to play. And that's why I'm saying with the whole, you know, if they did then
it'll be a 7-inch screen.
Madden
Yeah.
94 rewind, I would take that on the
I would
smaller
take that.
screen on the Switch. But
Playing Halo on that 6-inch screen is probably not it's probably doable, but I bet it's not as fun.
Right. I agree.
Hard to play.
I agree with David. That curated though would make sense. Like do an Xbox or XCloud type Game Pass type thing, but curated for that would work well on the Switch.
But if you think about it, with all the studios that Microsoft owns now, a curated list is not going to be that hard to put together. I mean, it doesn't have to be just first party. It could be if Microsoft owns a studio, here it is.
Right. The only thing about it is like, hey, people like me who bought Doom, like, I mean, why would I be trading that bad boy in? Because I got a quality version.
But on the other hand, I think
I think the biggest
would
draw
free some people up, right? Like the Bethesda or ID, it would free them up. They wouldn't have to develop a Switch version, right? It's going to be on xCloud. They could play it there.
But then that comes to the situation for you, Marty, and people like you, where you would not be able to play that game because you don't have the infrastructure to do that.
But here's the thing, Tim. I really feel like that's the inevitable future. That's coming already. So
well, if you get the Elon Musk satellite thing that he's offering, where you get better internet that way.
We could get on a waiting list, and I did. So we'll see.
People in Discord this afternoon was wanting to get a screenshot of your speedtest.net results.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I posted mine instead.
My 0.3 megabit per second upload speeds.
Yes.
Sure.
That's
yeah.
brutal.
No, we don't have broadband at my house. We have satellite.
Oh man. Right. Oh.
And we live a half mile from where it ends. And finally, they are bringing it to our house. We just don't know when.
We
could be
was
this
in the
year.
same
It could be,
situation.
it could be 10 years from now. Who knows? But we'll see. One last question here. I love this one. This is from Andros. He says, you've been approached by some infinitely wealthy investors to make a live action Nintendo Dads movie. Who will direct it? What genre will it be? What would the plot of the movie be? And who would play each of you? And here's what he says. Here's what we're going to do with this question. All right. We're gonna put this question off till next week because it gives us time to think, because he adds this extra wrinkle. Here it is. So next week, guys, y'all are going to come back with your best Nintendo Dads movie, because he asks, I think each of you should pick an actor for someone else instead of yourself. Maybe everyone has to agree on the actor or something. Has this been done before? So
it has been asked, but not in this way.
Here's what we're going to do. We're just going to go around my thing here. So I'm going to pick Jesse's actor. Jesse's going to pick Tim's. And Tim, you're going to have to pick Justin's actor.
Okay.
And Justin's going to have to pick me.
Okay.
All right.
So I'm picking Tim's.
You're picking Tim's. Tim's
I'm
picking Justin's.
Justin's.
Justin's picking me. I'm picking you.
Oh,
So
yeah.
by next week, we're going to have who will direct, what genre the film will be, and what the plot will be.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely chiming in for this one.
From each person. All right. So I already know where I'm going with this, and it's going to be like a plane crash.
Great question.
It is a great question. I'm actually kind of scared. Never mind, I'm not gonna say anything. But anyway, guys, that is episode 322 of Nintendo Dads. We'll come back to that fantastic question next week. And as we round out the show, we want to say a huge thanks to David Reed, Gaming Dad, for joining us on tonight's episode. Y'all, again, be sure to go check him out on Monday nights at 9 Eastern on YouTube at Gaming Dad. Like you said, you type in Gaming Dad, it's the first thing that pops up. He has a weekly news show, giving away stuff, just being a blessing to the community, spreading
interactive news show.
So y'all go check out Gaming Dad. There's his logo right there. I love that logo. Y'all go check him out. Also hit him up on Twitter at gaming_dad3 and Instagram at gamingdad3. Man, thank you
You know-
so much for being on episode 322.
Hey man, thank
loved
you, man. I appreciate it. Had a great time today.
Awesome, and we will definitely have you back. This is not going to be the only time you're going to be here with the Nintendo Dads.
Don't worry. If I'm not back on, I'm gonna troll every week.
All right, I like it. Well, guys, as we round out the show here, we want to say huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Chris Mears, Dave Ernsberger, Antonio Contronio, and Christopher Waring. Thank you guys for backing us at the $30 Patreon producer level, and thank you to each and every one of you who are part of our Patreon. From $1 all the way up. You guys are just so good to us. It's such a blessing, and we thank you for being a part of our community, which now on YouTube is over 5,300 strong on YouTube. It's just growing by the week, and we thank you for that. Also, we're almost past 1,000 followers on Twitch, and we want to say a huge thanks to our 15 Twitch subscribers who also get access to our Discord community and activities by subbing, or how do they do that, Tim? They prime us on,
if they use their Prime,
Yeah.
yes, they get
Yeah.
it that way. But there's tiers in the Twitch subscriptions as well. So even at tier level 1, they get right in. So
There
that's
you go.
$4.99 a month. So they get right in at the same level as the $5 guys at Patreon. So
This shows you how, like, I'm so old. I don't
the
know how
the
Twitch works.
Patreon people too, if they're interested in switching over to following us on Twitch, can do it the same way and get the $5
Absolutely.
level too. So I mean, just we're always blessed by what they do there, but we believe in flexibility and
Yep.
being able to move with you
And,
guys.
and
so.
speaking of flexibility, a few months ago we added the yearly option to Patreon.
Yes.
Support saves you a little bit of money if you want to back us at the $1, $5, $10 level. It's basically like getting a couple of months for free.
Yep.
And so you can
Get
go over
20%
there and
off
do
or something
that.
like that. Yeah.
And we would love to have you do that. You can check us out at our website, nintendodads.org. You can email us at nintendodads@gmail.com or call in and leave a voicemail at 929-25-NDADS. That's 929-256-3237. We want to say a big thanks to OC Remix for the music used throughout the show and remind you that sharing is caring. Go tell somebody about us. And as always, go to your podcast app of choice. Leave us a 5-star review with some written words telling us how awesome we are so everybody can see it. That just helps people find us. And that's really what we want. We just want more people to join in and be a part of what's going on here. So for me, for Jesse, for Tim, and for David Reed, Gaming Dad, thanks for watching episode 322 or listening to episode 322. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Take you later, peeps.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
We sound like the goddamn Nintendo dads all of a sudden.